Welcome to the road to the NHC. We are your guide to mastering the art of handicapping and securing your spot in the National Horse Players Championship in March. Whether you're a seasoned player or new to the game, this series is designed to help you sharpen your skills and understand the strategies that it takes to get to the NHC in Las Vegas. My partner, as usual, for the road to the NHC is none other than 2022 NHC champion David Harrison, one of the good guys in horse racing. And just in general, it's always good to be here with you, David. How are you, brother?
Great. How you doing this morning, Scotty? Good to be with you again.
Yep, I'm good.
As I usually say to lead off the shows on Friday, TGIFF to all the horse players out there. And I don't know, let's try to have some fun today. And also, hopefully we can pick some winners, but let's have some fun, have a few laughs, and we'll try to pick some winners and get a couple people hopefully qualified.
I agree. So we've got what we're going to cover is the first 6 races of the feeder. So if you want to get involved, go to the NTRA.com. It's $50 a year to join. It's super easy to do it. And then you can qualify. Maybe you can put in $18, join the feeder. You go to horseplayers.com. And if you finish like in the top 30 to 45, depending on how many people are in there, then you get a free entry into the $75 qualifier. And we're going to be covering all those races. So the 6 races in the feeder are the first 3 races at Gulfstream Park and the first 3 races over at Belmont Park. So let me get my share my screen. Let's do that, and we'll get EquinEdge up there. We got the first race over at Gulfstream Park, and let's run this race, David. Let's kick this off and have a good time. What's up, Jeff? Danny Sanchez in the house. What's up, Joe? It's good to see you guys. And
Hey,
you know
Jeff.
what? Yeah, you know what? Hopefully the chat is just going. Sometimes this chat just goes crazy, and it's so good, and it brings a lot of energy to the entire show. So just remember that. Feel free to ask any questions. There's no bad questions. I mean, some are tough, when you're doing a live show, depending on what the show's about. Like last night when we were doing the weekend preview show, somebody wanted us to cover a live race that was coming up. And obviously that's just not something we could have done in that situation. What's up, Lex? And the crew that we have here, the community at EquinEdge is just really incredible. We've got the VIP Facebook group. If you haven't been a part of that, you can go to our website and you can try to get in there. Have to meet some qualifications. It's nothing that big of a deal. And then, of course, the coaching classes. You can go to EquinEdge.com and it's free to join. We have 3 coaching classes per week. So, David, you are looking really good. What's up, Chris? You are looking really, really, really good right now. You feeling good?
Feeling good, brother. Feeling good. And in a great mood today. It's Friday, beautiful day here in Western New York. And, my confidence is always every day I approach a handicapping challenge or a contest or what have you. I'm always I'm always confident. Sometimes I'm puzzled by the result at the end of the day, but I always go in with confidence. I think it's really, really important that as a horse player, you go in with confidence. And the positive attitude has really helped me over the years to be successful in tournaments and in general in my horse playing, daily horse playing. So I just wanted to reach chat. Jeff, you had me a little worried. Thanks for the compliment. You had me a little worried there with your first tweet. Gulfstream, and then you typed 811. I was hoping you didn't mean to type 911. I'm like, we may have to. So if anybody runs into a stressful situation or emergency, feel free just to let us know. But thanks, Jeff. Good morning, Lexi. Good morning, Danny. Thanks for everybody. Joe, good morning.
All right. So I handicapped most of the qualifiers. So I'm going to be relying on you a lot here. All of us are on the feeders. So talk us through this race. It looks like the 4-horse La Cantera will probably be the favorite. I'm a little surprised right now. There is an hour left before the race, but 49 minutes. But JJ's Honor, the first-time starter, who's 2% and 25-1 EE morning line, is your favorite. A hard one to see on paper. What do you make of this one?
Yeah, just so for full disclosure, we had a conversation this morning, and I told Scotty that it looks a little chalky today. So, and then when I saw this JJ's Honor at morning line at 20-1. EE morning line 25-1 and live 3-1. That concerned me a little bit because maybe this horse is really live. But at this point, the race, I didn't include JJ's Honor, first time starter, as one of my picks. But did you have an interest in that horse, Scotty?
No, you know what? The more I'm looking at it, look, I mean, there's a $370 bet on the win. That's the highest right now. It's too early. So now that horse is going to go way up in odds. I'm not even going to think about that horse or consider that horse in the and the race simulator, though, only has that horse 2.5 lengths behind, to be fair. But Bill, thank you for that, by the way. It's $25 right now for tour fees. So I mean, that's just huge. So for $25, you can join the tour a year. So you might want to do that. What's up, Gilly? Absolutely worth it, and you'll have so much fun. You know what the cool part about playing in these tournaments is you can put up, like in the feeder right now that we're going to cover, you can put $18 up and have a chance to get into the qualifier. It's really neat. Meaning, like when you normally bet, you've got to bet every single race, whereas you put in your money one time and you put in your picks. Don't forget, though, this is a pick and pray. There are some live events, but this is a pick and pray. And with the pick and prays, you have to have all of your, like in this case, 6 plays in 6 different races, 2 different tracks. They all have to be in before the very first race goes off, which is Gulfstream Park, race number 1. Okay.
And just to confirm your statement, for people who haven't done this before, last year I was till February, and it was early February, and I still hadn't gotten my seat. And I was getting a little worried, and I wasn't going to play on this particular day. And like, shoot, like an hour before the feeder started, I'm like, what the hell? I'll throw in $18. And then it was in the top 10%. I think I finished 5th. And that day, I got into the qualifier and scored a seat. I finished 2nd and made my way to the NHC almost at the deadline. A couple of weeks left, so I was really sweating it out. So it can be done. I'm not going to say it only cost me $18 the entire year to get an NHC seat, but just shows you can get lucky one day, hit the feeder, hit the qualifier, and there you go. And
then you end up being in Vegas and winning the silver championship.
Yes, I did. So
amazing. And you got
took me a little while to get hot. Yeah. Took me a little while to get hot. So
yeah, you did get hot. Yeah. That's not an easy thing to do, and you beat a lot of good people, including me. I think I got. What did I get? 9th or something like that in that tournament?
I know. I was checking the other day. You got 4K. I was on the NTRA website checking the leaderboard, and I was just disappointed. You did well. Just so everybody knows, Scotty did pretty well in the free NHC contest on Sunday. And I was sure you'd get some tour points. I thought it was a top 10%. I think you were 40th or 50th, no?
No, well, this is I haven't been playing. I played in that, but the reason I will, if I'm being honest, when you get to the top level, so and we were talking about this last week, and I called them because a couple of times I finished in the top 10%, but once you finish 7 times in the top 10%, you have to beat it, right? And so I didn't lie. I'm like, well, it's different if you're not putting in a bunch of money every week, but I didn't like that. And so I've only played, I think, in 1 or 2 of them because the level, most people are not going to get to that level, so they don't have to worry about that.
Right.
But to me, it definitely took a little bit of steam out of me, David, if I'm being forthright about it. And so I've not, I did get a top 10% finish in that, right? And then I got a top 10% finish in another, and I got no points for it. And that was really demoralizing to me.
Yeah, no, I agree. And when Scotty, you're in 9th or 8th, and I expect you to get points. I'm in 25th because I had a little success. I'm only for a 5K payoff. I'm only like 5 spots away. But the question is, now it's 7, and you've got to right. So the bottom line is that once you get to the level of being on the fringes there, the top 20.
Yeah,
you've got to, you start progressing slower up the board because it's your top 7. So you got to improve on one of the top 7. So
you literally have to win or come in second in an event just to get any points.
Right.
Yeah. And it's tough enough to be in the top 10%, let alone win or come in second in every event.
Right. Okay. Well, let's get 1st and 2nd today in the qualifier. Then
we have, all right, let's show how we can speed handicap with EquinEdge. The truth is that there is no other platform that we can cover 6 races in 43 minutes legitimately, right?
Right.
And so you did some pre-handicapping already. Talk us through what you found in this race.
Sure. First race at Gulfstream, we've got maiden $35,000 claimers going a mile on a turf, and these are 2-year-old fillies. And it looked rather chalky to me originally, but I can't resist looking out for a long shot. And you'll see what I'm talking about as we go through the picks this morning. That I originally was going to focus on using the 7 or the 4 here. Now, if you look at both of these horses, let's go to the 4 first, La Cantera. This is Jack Sisterson's horse, raced in a maiden special weight on Tapeta, first time at 5 furlongs and stretched out to 1.70 miles. But the key point was the class level. This horse, she raced in a maiden special weight both times out.
Tell me again. I'm sorry, David, I'm sorry to cut you off. I
Sure.
missed that. I was looking at what Mike was saying in the chat, and I didn't listen to the horse you were talking about. Say it again.
Oh, we're on the 4 La Cantera
Okay,
for the Sisterson's horse, your favorite trainer. And so this horse now moves from synthetic, cuts back from 1.70 miles to a mile, blinkers on, class relief. This horse is going to be very tough. And the 7, Triguna, again, same. Yep. You're better pronunciation than me, sir. So the 7 horse is also dropping from that same race where La Cantera finished 3rd, and this horse, the 7, finished 6th. But again, stretching, cuts back from Tapeta, drops in class, back to now on turf, probably the right surface. Then I was looking around. I'm like, I'm going to be chalky throughout the rest of the feeders. So I couldn't resist this horse. And I'm looking at it. Morning line was 15-1, but the EE morning line was only 6-1. So that always piques my interest because that's been an angle that's worked for me many times successfully. And now I look, this horse is being right now bet at 5-1, even though we have a long period of time to the post time. But and that's the 8 Breeze Through Time. I mean, not the greatest breeding for the turf. And let's see, the GSR is what for that horse?
The GSR is 47.
Yeah, but
but none of these are great. So
exactly, and there's a lot of spotty turf breeding here, and I just Elizabeth Dobles doesn't win with a lot of first time starters, right?
She doesn't win with any first time starters.
Exactly. So I'm gonna, because some of these contests you have to look. You don't want all chalk. So this is where I'm taking a step, reaching out a little bit, and I'm going to use the 8 Breeze Through Time on top. This is like a 35,000 maiden going, a mile on a turf. This horse could run a decent race, and all I'd be looking for is a second here. So I guess I take the 8 over the 7, and the 4 obviously in horizontals. Those are the 3 horses I'd use. So I'm going to reach out to the first race with the 8 Breeze Through Time. Who'd you like?
Well, I thought it was interesting, like the 4 horse. For sure, but when I ran the race simulator, I was a little surprised to see that this horse is barely beating the 7. The problem I have with the 7, and I'm not really about statistics, but it's not like this horse was 11% in its first start, and it's only 13% in its second start, right? And also, De La Cerda is 20% with first-time starters and only 5% with second-time starters. So I'm thinking, they usually fire their best shot first time out. The horse does come with a good work here. Switch leads at the top of the lane, which you want to see that, and began to pick things up. That'll happen, as you know, when they switch leads. And finishing up under a bit of a ride, but good energy. Did things nicely late. And then the race simulator likes this horse, no doubt about it. So I was there. So I'm confused a little bit about that horse. Then when you look at the 8 horse, Elizabeth Dobles is 0 for 16 with first-time starters, and the horse is only 2%. I did find it extremely interesting that the EE morning line was 6-1 on this horse. Right. That was a bit of a surprise. Then I look at the 9 horse, Nashville Slew, 16% to win, has some speed, tactical speed for that matter, and really improved second time out on the drop in class. Seems to be facing tougher, but the win percentage actually goes up. So I'm going to go with the 9 horse. Nashville Slew, the EquinEdge long shot, because I'm going to, and this horse is right on the wire as well. And there's just something about this 4 horse that I'm not trusting, but I wouldn't be surprised if the 4 won by 10 lengths either. So
right.
I'm with the 9.
Yeah, obviously the 4 and the 7 are the logical horses. I was just looking to be a little bit of a wise guy here in race 1 to kick it off. So
understandable. Right. I think that with the way, here's what I'm looking at with the 9. It's 3-1 EE morning line. It's got the second top win percentage at 16%, and it's the EquinEdge long shot. So there's 3 different things pointing that the 9 horse is going to run a good race. And then you look at the race simulator, and it's right there at the finish. So if for a horse that could go off at 5, 6, 7-1, this seems like the logical play. And if the 4 wins, who cares? It's going to go off at 6-5, 7-5 anyways.
Right.
That was the thought.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I'm locking you in at the with the 9.
Yes, sir.
Scotty is locked in. That's your final answer? The 9 and an 8 for me. Obviously, a second ticket. We both used probably the 7, right? So, okay, race 2. We got 5.5 furlong maiden 16 claimer on the Tapeta.
So we have a first-time starter in the 6 horse that's 13% win, and it has no speed. You know what I look for in these first-time starters? When they're like at the top of the pace number, they seem to do really well. The 6 horse actually wins this race on the simulator. So it's the EquinEdge second pick. It's 5-2. Let's look at the workouts. So the workouts look pretty good. A 3-star here for Bruno, 3-star here. They're not particularly fast, but really they don't need to be really on the synthetic. I think the only thing that's throwing me off a little bit is the slow gate drill here on August 17th, especially at 5 furlongs. That doesn't always tell the story, but Ramsey's 0 for 5 with first-time starters with a 19% trainer. The GSR is really a forgettable 30. And I know they're all low, but it's hard for me to get by that. And I look at a horse like the 1 horse, and the 1 horse is facing easier. Win percentage goes up, and GSR goes up and gets off the rail. And Vasquez jumps aboard. I would imagine this 1 horse is going to run a much better race. I'm going to go with the 1.
Okay, I'm a little surprised there, Scotty. I thought you'd be all over the 3 or the 4 here, and that's where I'm going. And again, we're looking at workouts, but let's keep in mind that this is a maiden 16 claimer. So for 2-year-olds, so they already the trainers know where these horses belong. So you're not going to see any really fast workouts normally for maiden 16 claimers, especially going on at Tapeta. This looked too logical to me. I don't want any part of the first-time starters, and I don't want it. The 1's got a shot. I agree, Scotty. First-time turf, 5 furlong, blinkers on, dropping class from 35 to 16. So it's eligible to, and Vasquez picks up the mount. But obviously, when you look at Gulfstream, the first thing you look at is Jaramillo and Zayas, right? So they're on the 3 and the 4. I think based on the speed difference, I mean, I looked at the 3 originally at 9-5, but this horse is cutting back from 1.70 miles to 5.5, which is a big cutback. And that horse didn't show any speed. If you look at the pace factor, it's got the lowest pace factor, 22. So I think this horse needs a little more distance. So that's what I landed on the 4, Fastidious. Comes out of a 5 ran on the dirt originally in a maiden special weight, state bred, Florida breds, didn't lift a hoof, but hesitated start. Second race, 16,000 claimer on the Tapeta, 5 furlongs. Head turned at the start, so 2 trouble lines. Now we got a jockey change from Spanabel to Zayas. That's a positive for me. And I think this horse is 6-5, Fastidious, and wins by 5 to 6 lengths and put it to bed. So it's all number 4, Fastidious for me, Scotty.
Yep. Horse is going to go off at low odds for sure. I'm still not going to trust this horse. Unfortunately, I can't trust this horse at the start. And based on those first 2 starts, and really now the head was turned, so you have to be fair. I mean, at 5 furlongs, you turn your head, you're done. But this was a pretty big drop for this horse. Win percentage goes up. GSR, I don't know. It's just that these are all low GSRs. The 1 horse. Here's what's interesting too. If you look at the 1 horse and you look at it on paper, no one's thinking this one's going to get the lead. Nobody. but look at the pace number, right? So it looks like it could be the 1 and the 4. That's if the 4 breaks good. But if the 1 breaks good, the 1 could have the lead. And it's not like it's 6, 7, 8% win. It's 16% win. I think it's worth the chance, considering the 4 horse is probably going to go off at 2 to 1 or 8 to 5.
Right, and that's a very good point, Scotty. The horse also draws the rail, puts blinkers on, so that would normally indicate that they're going to want to show more speed. Yeah. If you look at the first quarter of that race, it was 21-1. So they were flying. This horse was in 4 lengths off the pace at the first call, but you look at the first fraction of Fastidious going the same distance on the Tapeta, it was only 22-2. That's a full second. And so, yeah, no, the 1 should have the lead. I think the 4 will be tracking and take over. But yeah, no, I think I see that's logical. The 1 could run a good race here.
All right, so that's race number 2. Race number 3. Again, you've got 32 minutes before race number 1 here at Gulfstream Park.
Okay, let's run the simulator. So while we're running the simulator, I'm going to disclose here. When I looked at, I was all bummed out when I saw the scratch of the 3, Athena's Wisdom. That was like my best bet of the day, and I'm like, all right, we're going to lock it in with that. But then now it's left me scrambling for a pick. So I'm going to go with a little loyalty here.
Why don't you start us off? Is the 4 all that?
Yeah, I don't think so. Again, even though this horse is 5 for 21, and is a logical favorite, but if you look at the EE morning line at 1 to 2, now I can get chalky, but again, I don't want this horse. This horse is 3 for 4 over the at Gulfstream over the surface. It just looks logical, but I mean, this horse packed it in at 4 to 5 last time out, has burned money in the past, back on May 3rd, April 19th as favored. He did break through
the gate, to be fair.
Yep.
He did break through the gate in the beginning, right? And then went wide around the turn for whatever reason. Didn't need to, but did. So, and that ended up hurting the horse late. But you're right, though. I mean, it has stopped. I don't think there's any way this horse isn't getting the lead. There's only, the 2 horse is somewhat fast. It is fast. I mean, I guess the 2 could put some pressure, and the 7 horse is fast. Both of them are the types of horses that need to be near the lead to win.
Yeah.
But the 7 looks like it can rate a little bit. The 7 will get a good trip from that outside post. The 7's a very interesting horse that I'm looking at as we're talking about this. But I don't think there's any reason to play the 4 horse, because it doesn't look like a horse that's 70% to win and just take the free points. It looks like a horse that maybe you could try and beat.
Yeah, I agree. And this is, Scotty, in all honesty, this is a matter of loyalty for me in this race. And again, I was all over the 3, and I was going to use the 3 to beat the 4. It was 3-4 on my notes originally, because when I opened the EquinEdge last night to handicap this race, what stuck out at me was, hey, I have an old friend here. This horse, number 2, Twizzle. August 23rd, I believe we did a show, and I picked Twizzle at 16 to 1. And this horse, first time, it was off the claim with a low percentage trainer off the claim. And put blinkers on, and I said, "This horse, hey, listen, it's only $8,000 claim. It's moving up, but it's not facing a lot of world beaters here." And I thought this horse had a chance, an outside chance at a price. And this horse put me into got me some tour points that day. So here's the loyalty angle. Yep. So the key is, at the distance, this horse won at a 12.5 claimer. None was a 2 lifetime. Not moving up in conditions, but I like the way this horse stalked the pace and drew off. I thought it was a rather easy win. So horses for courses. I am concerned about the jockey switch, but it comes up with the bug, 105 pounds, which is very advantageous. So I think this horse, if this horse doesn't get the lead, be stalking the 4, and he'll be in a position to at least have a chance coming down the stretch. So
you're right. That's a big weight. That's a big weight break. I mean,
yes,
you're talking about 105 pounds compared to 121 pounds.
Yes,
with the 4 horse as an example. there seems to be a lot of speed in this race. This is all strategy. It really is. Like for me, I'm hoping for a speed duel early. I think the 7 horse is going to get a good trip from the outside. It looks like it can rate a little bit, but it might need to be too close to a pace. And the 2 horse, the same thing for me. I feel the same way about this 5 horse. And this is going to lead me to the 1 or the 6. Because I don't think these horses necessarily have to be too far back. The 6 horse is, right there. I think the 1 and the 6. The 1 is the only one with the blue arrow that's actually closing really fast. It won last time out. It gets claimed by Santiago, who's not really known for his claims. But and I also like Sonny Leone on closers personally. I like him, and he obviously has a lot of confidence on this horse. And then the 6 horse as well. The 6 horse. Throw out that last race, obviously. It was 38% before and lost. And it doesn't look like the horse would change leads. But you'll notice if you look, even at the same distance and surface, look at that, but won by 4.5 lengths against a 66 group. Yeah, so, and the horse likes to win. Like, it's 23% to win. Throw out the last race. I don't know what happened in the race before last, but then if you look at the prior 2 races, how does this horse not wrong? Like, how is this horse not the best horse in the race by far? And so I think I'm going to take a risk on the 6 horse, and hopefully you can just throw out two races back. Or last race for sure is easy. That was a 76 SOR. That's an easy throw out. But the race before that at 38%, I don't know who it lost to or what the situation was. Maybe it wasn't the horse didn't change leads. But prior to that, if this horse was coming off of either one of those 2 races, this horse would be 2-5 in this race. So that wasn't all that long ago in June. So I think I'm going to take a chance with the 6.
Okay. The concern I had with the 6, Scotty, was the trainer, Ruben Sierra, not the retired baseball player, but the trainer is 0 for 6, not even hitting the board. Gonzalez in the 1 for 19, so he's a little cold. But I do really like the workout on September 6th. 4 furlongs, 47 and 3 a breeze. The best, it's a bullet workout. The best of 44 works. And the concern I had, again, the class, the SOR of the last race, that was a stakes race, so way over its head in that race she was, and definitely contender. I thought this was besides the 4. I thought there were a number of other contenders. Major Bryce I looked at, and off the claim, but I think maybe the mud moved this horse up unless the track comes up muddy. So we'll see how it goes. We have a track condition says
right now the weather is incredible, but but here's the thing though, these storms can come in fast, but it doesn't look like it'll rain. If it does rain, it's going to be later in the day. So I think in this 3rd race you'll be okay. And the horse is tactical as well. This horse can definitely run better. And it's faced some decent horses as well. The group it beat last time out, though, to be fair, was a much easier than what is lined up here. But 3 back, it faced a similar group and barely lost and had a ton of trouble. I think the 1 horse has to be considered as well. The consideration, though, for me, 2 things as to why I'm going to go with the 6 instead of the 1. And that is, I don't like the 6% trainer taking over. I don't like that. And I really don't like the rail in this situation here too. I think the horse is not a good breaker, and there was another good point that I wanted to make about this horse too, but I can't remember what that was. But I'm going to go with the 6 either way. It doesn't matter. All right, let's get to Belmont.
Okay, Belmont. We're Aqueduct Big A at first race. Let me just pull it up on EquinEdge and then look at my notes. 2-year-old maiden special weight.
What's up, Willie?
Hey, Willie. How's it going, my friend?
Let's see here. So this is to me, it's a confusing race. It's a hard one because you've got like the 8 horses nowhere. Well, is the 9 a single? It did break. Look at it. It broke from the 12. It ran a huge race. It ran two good races. It had the rail prior to that. It's had some issues in each of the races, and it gets it. You know, this horse gets its third jockey. The race simulator has the horse winning by almost 2 lengths, 37% to win. GSR is fine. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I'm gonna take. I'm gonna bite the bullet and take the chalk here, Scotty. Based on that last race, I mean, if you look at this horse's even first race at Ellis and at the 5.5 furlong on the turf, this horse was bumped at the 8th pole, had the inside post, which I never love as a first-time starter, going 5.5.
No.
Ran a good race at 10.5 to 1 and finished a bang-up third, only 1.25 lengths behind the winner, and then moves to Kentucky Downs. We know the quality of turf horses at Kentucky Downs. Look at this, but that was a $160,000 maiden special weight, and this horse had the extreme outside post and was favored. So you know they were high on this horse. This horse got off a little slow, but chased the pace and also ran another bang-up race. Of that last race, I there's a couple of first-time starters that might be interesting here, like maybe the 8 or the 7. And this horse is a no-name never, well-bred for the turf, for sprinting. I think this horse is a lock. I'm just gonna, like I said, bite the bullet, move on, and I'm gonna use the 9. Hit that review. If I had two entries, I'd use the 9 on both.
Yeah. Fair enough. I don't think there's. I think there's some decent horses in here, but just none like that. This horse looks too tough for them. Lucas Mischief. This horse just looks okay. Nothing great. I don't know about short for this horse. It is going up 12 points in GSR. It could run a better race, no doubt about it, for Liscano. But
even if it runs a better race, it's going to take a big race to beat that 9. And I think also the scratch of the 1 and the 2, both the Pletcher horses, is a big factor, because I was looking to make one of those 2 horses, and when I saw the scratches, I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to spend any more time on it. The 9, and again, you're going to get even money, and in that case, I'll just take my $5.80 and move on.
Yeah, I agree with you. This horse has been facing much better horses that are lined up in here. There really is nothing in here. And if you look at the first call, I mean, this horse is going to be sitting maybe a length, maybe 2. Look at off of the 4 and the 6, you're going to be going. And then look, it's already making up ground. And then just like, yeah, I think that the 9 and the 9's going to sit a perfect trip. Like, this horse looks tough, looks very tough. All right, let's go to race number 2.
Okay, race number 2. Let's run the simulator. The key factor to me, the first thing that stood out to me here, Scotty, was the lack of pace in this race.
Yeah. This Kubrick, this one horse, is the fastest horse in the race. So you know what I find with races like this, David? They're jockeys races. Like, which one of these jockeys is going to be aggressive and take the lead? That's usually the one that wins a race like this. That's what I see in races where there's no speed. Of course, the one horse. This horse has the top pace, top win percentage, top SOR, top GSR, and when in that situation, these horses win 35% of the time with a positive ROI of 10%, even after takeout. This one horse could be very, very tough to beat. Do you think Franco sends this horse from the beginning? Because this is why I say that's not a given, because he's looking at this horse on paper. So he's looking at the form and he's going, okay, he's probably not thinking I can get the lead. And that's a mistake. And then so what happens is another horse that's a decent animal gets an easy lead, cruises up front, and you can't catch it. Like if I knew the connections here and they told me they were going to send this horse to the lead, I'd bet my lungs out. But we don't know that that's going to be the case.
Right. And, Scotty, in all honesty, I'm really disappointed in the one Kubrick. August 16th, I was on the stretch run show with the guys, and I was just touting this horse, saying this is a single in all my horizontals in the Ocean Port. This horse drew a cozy post in mile and 16th. And the reason I really liked this horse that day was I was at the track at Saratoga on June 8th and watched Ice Chocolat get out of the gate, Laurel be better to sleep at a slow pace, which was ridiculous. 24-2 and 48 in a grade 3 race. Are you kidding me? On a fast, a very hard turf course. And this Ice Chocolate went wire to wire, beat a Charlie Appleby horse, beat actually two Charlie Appleby horses and a Chad Brown. I think there was a Pletcher. And so the jocks got fooled. They just got lulled to sleep. And that was one. So I'm figuring this horse is going to be closer to the pace and he's a lock. And he showed nothing. It was a very disappointing effort to me. But now drops in class. That was a pretty fast race. St. Anthony, I think, did he come back and won? But he's raced in the 6 race. In any case, I like the horse, but I don't trust this horse, Scotty. Yeah. So then looking at the pace scenario, I mean, to me, Battle of Normandy is going to be there, but it's
David, let me cut you off real quick. Since
sure.
The last time this horse had Lasix was the last time it won, and it won easily. And it's getting Lasix back for the second time.
Yeah, no, I know. I saw that because it's dropping out of a stakes race, right? But again, I looked at that race. That I thought was a very weak race. And I just think overall this horse has been very disappointing. And usually disappoint me once, fine. Disappoint me 2 or 3 times, I'm done. So I am looking for a horse who I think is going to be really close on the lead or close to the pace. And it comes out of the same race. And that's the 3 highest distinction. This is where I landed. Highest distinction ran against Kubrick and was in that Ocean Port. But the key was that was off a long layoff. Prior to that, the last time this gelding was out was October 13th. But look at the track. Keeneland, and a $140,000 allowance race. And look at its form before that. This horse had reeled off 1, 2, 3, 4 wins in a row on the turf. Won the Ocean Port at 10-1 against There Are No Words, who loves the Monmouth turf course. Yeah. So that horse was in rare form. I don't know what the layoff was about. There's probably some kind of injury. Came back and just, the horse obviously would need that race. So I'm thinking with that conditioning, second race off a layoff, solid trainer Lindsay Schultz, that we are going to get a little bit of a better price. And this, if I was Rendon, I'd go right to the lead or stalk the 1. And I think this could be a 2-horse race. And because I don't think the 1's reliable, I'm going to use the 3 over the 1. And the other horse I'd consider, if you wanted to, is Battle of Normandy. It's usually right there, and it's 1 for 2 on this turf course. So it's all 3-1 for me, Scotty.
Okay. On paper, this is an extremely tough race. You can see even at the finish of the race simulator, they're all right there. Utah Beach. Did you consider Utah Beach at all?
Yeah, and I did take a long look at Utah Beach, but I prefer Utah Beach not off a layoff. And I think this horse just has really no speed. The Tory, and it's a wide, the 6 post. I'd like to see a race. So I'm going to fade that horse.
Yeah, I don't blame you. The reason I don't love the horse, it's got a 13 pace in a race where, there's just no speed. I'm going to take a risk with Lasix first time on the 1, horse to watch, pray that Franco sends this horse early, and maybe he will from the rail. And so I'm going to take a chance on the 1 horse.
And I got to point something else out. 6, Utah Beach. Are there any beaches in Utah? That's an interesting name for a horse. Does Utah have any bodies? I'm sure they've got lakes, right? I guess there's got to be a beach in Utah.
But I've been to Utah. They definitely don't have any beaches.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
They have a lot of things, but beaches is not one of them. Obviously it's a nickname for something. I don't know. Yeah. They have a great Salt Lake. There you go. Thank you, Oldie.
Okay.
All right. So I'm on the 1. You're on the 3. The 1 you could get 2-1 or 3-1 on this on this Kubrick. I hope this horse shows up the way it should show up. I'm going to take. I knew I was waiting for somebody. Of course, it's Jeff.
I was going to say it's got to be a science fiction. Yes. Oh, yeah, the Mormons in Utah. I thought you were relating to Kubrick.
Yeah.
All right, Stanley. All right, Stanley. You like Kubrick? All right, Stanley. Let's move on.
All right, let's move on. Okay. Finish. All right, all right, go ahead. You start us off here because I hadn't handicapped this race. So I'll do it while you're doing it. All I know is the top win percentage is only 22%.
Okay, I got clarification from a friend of mine, Steve, who just texted me. Utah Beach, he's a historian, is World War II Normandy. There you go.
I knew it. It was some sort of battlefield.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. Cool. Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Steve. So the 7 horse is a horse to watch. It's also moving up 10 points in GSR. It's facing easier horses than when it did 2 back. It had broke from the rail 2 back. It didn't have a good trip. It's actually had a tough trip throughout the last race. I don't know what happened in the last. Clearly the horse didn't want turf. The GSR went down. The win percentage went down. It didn't like going 11 furlongs on the turf. They took a shot. That didn't work. But if you throw that out, then the 7 horse is a big player in here. And it is the top EquinEdge pick as well in what appears to be a really tough race on paper.
Yeah, this is, I have to admit, this is sort of my specialty. 7 furlongs at the Big A, 35,000 beaten claimers. I salivate for these races, to be honest with you. And I struggled a little bit because there's really no, again, world beaters in here. And the key is the distance. 7 furlongs is a little bit of a tricky distance for some of these horses. And the key is another race with not a real clear pace here. I guess Badlands Ruler will have the lead and be pressed by the Aburrito, the 3, but I'm not sold on either of those horses, to be honest with you. Badlands Ruler puts blinkers on. Nate Paul Shadowpaul, he's a low percentage trainer. I mean, he can win. Watasha is a contender here. But ultimately, the horse side and debate, I'm not sold on because of the lack of speed going 7. I've seen many of these 7 furlong races. A horse just gets out on the lead and never looks back, which led me to Parkerness originally. But I'm not sure I like this horse coming from Parks, Delaware, Timonium, off a victory just by a nose, and then going 7 in New York. Yeah, I'm going to throw that horse out. So basically, it was process of elimination. I started putting an X through every horse. So I guess if you put an X through every horse in a race, you're not betting the race, right? So I ultimately started from the 8 post and worked my way up. And the horse I landed on is the 1-2 for charging. This horse, the last race this horse ran, you can throw out, in my opinion. This horse drew the extreme outside post at the 10 post going out of that Wilson chute at Saratoga. A real disadvantage. And this horse didn't get anywhere near the lead. And I think it was going to blow the turn. And Pratt basically just said, okay, it's going to be another day for this horse. Yeah. This horse, that was a second race off of a long layoff. This horse won off a long layoff going 6.5 over this track. Has won at 7 furlongs. If you go back, this horse won not 7 furlongs over the track, but over at Saratoga, 7 furlongs, solid race at 7-1. Now you got the cutback. You got a much better post. I think the issue I have here is the lack of speed with this horse, but you know, Pratt stays. This horse, Pratt's been on this horse twice in a $35,000 claimer, which is a good sign that he stays. And off a slight layoff, throw that last race out. This is a much cheaper company, and I just think that I'm a little concerned with the inside post, in all honesty, but I'm settling on the 1 here, 2 for charging, and I don't want any other horses, so it's all number 1, 2 for charging for me.
Yeah, my struggle with this horse is it's breaking from the rail, but also it's not a good breaker, and off that layoff. As far as the speed, you can see here at the second call, at least the race simulator is saying the horse is only going to be a length and 3/4 behind. But actually, then when you click on the stretch, there goes the 8. And then, so this is a hard read, at least from the race simulator's point of view. Watasha, the 2 horse, this horse is tactical, only faced 4 other horses last time. But it was against similar horses, was 30%. And this horse moves on to a different trainer. off of the layoff as well. Yeah, this race, I'm looking at it for the first time. It seems tough. You have 9 minutes to get your plays in, you guys. So if you're playing, make sure to get those in. 2 closing top GSR. 2 horses. Yeah, it's closing. 7 horses interesting because of the way this horse is closing, but there's not a lot of speed in here. Like I'm going to probably take the horse I think might get an easy lead. What about Badlands Ruler? I mean, this horse, it doesn't look all that great. It is 10-1 on the morning line, but at this level, it keeps on burning money.
And race for 14,000 claimer last time out. So
yeah.
Moving way up. Mm-hmm.
I really don't want to take a horse like the 5 horse, who I really do think is going to be closing. I do. I think this horse will be closing, but horses just don't come from the clouds here very often and win, right? You know that.
Especially not at 7. Even though you do have some paces here, if Ruben Silvera got this 8 out of the gate and this horse wired, it wouldn't shock me. But I think the 1 could stay. I'm hoping Pratt stays close to the pace. And in all honesty, if Watasha wasn't off a layoff, he'd be my solid pick. But I'm a little worried about avoided claim on November 12th. But Watasha's been running against some much better horses. The layoff does concern me, and the trainer change. It's Jordan Wyckoff. He usually uses Joe Sharp. And Rivera's off to a slow start since we came back downstate. So, I guess if I was using a second horse, it would be the 1. The 2. So it would be 1 over the 2.
It's interesting that the 2 horse is not up for a tag. That is interesting to me. This horse has done well in 2 tries at 7 furlongs. This horse has done really good. So I don't see why this horse couldn't run good. The 1 horse, you're right, it has run good at 7 furlongs as well.
Right, and that's one of the keys with 7 furlongs being a tricky distance. The first thing I look at, who's won at the distance, okay? And that's basically the 1 and the 2, and there's one other horse who's won at the distance, would be the 4, who I think is a little too cheap here.
I think the 4 is like our friend Katie Davis is aboard the 4, and I was just looking at the 4. The 4 certainly deserves a look here, but I think I'm going to go with the. And you can tell I don't love this race, so not that anybody's going to really take my opinion in here. I don't have a strong opinion, but I do think that the 8 horse is fast, second off the layoff, going to be sitting on the outside for Ness. I'm going to go with the 8 horse.
You're going with the 8, and I think that's logical. Like I said, you wouldn't shock me if this horse sprung the gate and got out and the race was over. We had a feeder a couple of weeks ago, Scotty. Same thing. We had a 7 furlong race with very little pace. And one of the longest shots in the field got out with an easy, like 23-4 and 48, and just cruised. And I'm like, you go that slow, I probably could have won the race on the front end. So, So,
by the way, if you haven't, me and Justin did the road to or the weekend preview show for stakes, and we covered a lot of races, but we especially covered Parks tomorrow. And the Stretch Run show is going to be covering that. There is, 8 stakes races over at Parks. They have an amazing card. Pennsylvania Derby, another $1 million race for the fillies. I'm drawing a blank on what the name of that is. But
Cotillion,
thank you. The Parks, for the first time, gave us approval to show the live streaming. So you're not going to want to miss that. So tomorrow, Stretch Run show, you're going to want to watch that. And, there's still a paddock here. Go ahead. I'm sorry, David. I'm sorry.
And since you brought Parks up, I was going to say, great show last night. I was listening while I was watching actually not my Jets. They were my Jets last night because of our financial interest. But in all honesty, that was a great show. And I just wanted to point out before I forget, if you look, be careful with Butchie Reed tomorrow. Usually on PA Derby Day, all his horses are live. Last year, he had a horse, Be Smooth, who's also running this year in the Turf Monster at 23-1, ran a bang up second on a very boggy turf course. And every horse he's got tomorrow is live. Meritus Maximus, he's got Morning Matcha, he's got 4 Harp also in the Turf Monster. He's got Uncle Heavy. So don't leave Butchie Reed out of anything. And my pick tomorrow in the PA Derby, the exact Unmatched Wisdom, and the sleeper is Timeout. I think Timeout stalks the pace and is going to move up here. So okay, we can go back. I just wanted to get that in.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you did. I appreciate that. That's really great information. All right, we're done with it's coming up. They're still in the paddock. I'm looking right now. They're coming out right now over at Gulfstream Park. I want to say it says 3 minutes, but probably more like 5 or 6 minutes to get all your pick and praise in. We've covered races 1 through 3 at Gulfstream Park, races 1 through 3 at Belmont. We can real quickly, we'll cover those again. So David and I both like the 9 horse, Hit That Review, who's the 7-5 favorite at Belmont, race number 1. And race number 2, David has the 3 horse, Highest Distinction, who is 5-1 on the EE Morning Line. And in what appears to be a wide open race, I'm going to take the 1 horse Kubrick for Chad Brown and Manny Franco. I'm hoping that they'll send to the lead. And Kubrick is getting Lasix for the first time. In race number 3, David has the 1 horse, 2 for Charging, who's coming off a layoff. Did win off that long layoff before. Flavian Pratt jumps back aboard. Seemed to be training nicely. Had a bullet work as well. And so 2 for Charging is going to be coming late, most likely, but doesn't have to be too far back. Does drop, come from the rail. Hopefully, Pratt can get the horse, get him to break decent, because he's a bit of a slow breaker, but arguably might be the horse to beat in the race. Over at Gulfstream Park, let's get to race number 1. David has the 8 horse Breeze Through Time, a first-time starter who's got a low win percentage, not getting bets so far in this race. David, you want to make a change in that based on the betting, or you want to change your mind? You have it's pretty dead on the board.
Thanks for the temptation, but I'm going to lock myself in. The one thing I don't want to do is go with my first impression, my first opinion, and then change, which I've done a number of times, and then I get beat a $24 horse who I liked originally beats me. So that's not happening.
Okay. All right. And I'm with the 9 horse Nashville Slew, who is an underlay from that 8-1 morning line. David, I don't know if you know this, and I don't know the exact stat because it's been a while, but about 3 or 4 years ago, I had my developers run what the underlay win percentages were. And if from the odds makers morning line, not the EE morning line, but horses that are under the morning odds makers morning line win 80% of the time. 80%.
On the EE morning line is what you're
No, I'm sorry, on the odds makers morning line. So basically, if you have a horse, like here's an example, like the 9 horse, it's 8-1. Anything under 8-1, so 7-1 or under is a good thing. And then you have a horse, let's just say like this one, the 5, 6-1 in the odds makers morning line, and the horse is 10-1. So this horse is going to win a very small percentage of the time. So there's different ways of classifying an overlay and an underlay, but most people, experts, when they talk about underlays and overlays, they're talking about the odds makers morning line. So
okay,
right?
I agree, but the only thing I want to point out, you're making an assumption, Scotty, that the morning line, and I'm going to be very carefully walking the line on this. I never want to criticize a morning line maker because I don't think I can do a very good job at it. But there are certain stakes races where I've seen that they're way out of whack. And I think some of the races tomorrow at Parks are a little bit out of whack, personally. But you're assuming the morning lines odds maker is competent. So we'll leave it at that. Or again.
Or not. Or not.
Yeah.
Think about it. Right? Yeah. Or not. So.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, the stat is the stat. All I know is 3 or 4 years ago, and so I still do that at this. When I go to, let's just say, Express Bet, and I go click to make a bet, and I see there on the tote that a horse that maybe I want to make a win bet on is above the odds makers morning line, I do it a second take real quickly on that, because they just don't win very often. I have to really like the horse in order to do that. So this is where the EE morning line plays a huge role.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? It plays a huge role because it shows you where, okay, like the 9 horse, the morning line odds maker made this horse 8-1. We have it at 3-1. Right now it's 5-1 and 16%. That's excellent value on a horse that's the EquinEdge long shot, 16% to win, and also right there at the finish line in the race simulator. So this is the type of horse that you want to play when you're making a bet.
Exactly. And I pointed this out when I first started using EE after we met in Vegas. I actually met in at the Eclipse Awards, not in Vegas, we met in West Palm. I was first started using it. I'm like, the EE morning line is when it's much lower than the morning line. It's usually these horses run well. And also, you got to make a decision: is the horse dead on the board, or now are you getting value? So, in looking back, if you have a morning line at 5-1 and you really like the horse, but the horse is ending off a minute to post, going up at 2-1, you've got to make a decision: is there enough value there for you to bet that horse at 2-1, or are you going to pass? I had that situation with a Charlie Baker horse yesterday at Aqueduct, and I faded it at the last minute because there's no way I wanted 2-1. The horse is not worth a 2-1 price. So it goes both ways. Sometimes the horse is overbet and you're like, no, it's no value. So you got to get that counterbalance between value and maybe dead on the board, right? So
for sure.
That's why it's called gambling, and that's why horse playing is a little tricky. So it's not easy.
Well, not surprisingly, the 4 is the big favorite at 1-5. I think that's crazy. The 7 horse, who we knew would probably be the second choice, is likely to improve, but the trainer's second-time win percentage with horses is not great at 5%. Let's see what happens here. Here's race number 1 at Gulfstream Park.
Good luck, everybody. And just to let you know, if I was at the NHC, I'd change my pick to the 7.
In the middle, the big favorite, La Cantero, is away in good shape. Down at the inside, JJ's Honor is forwardly positioned. And moving out in the center, here's speed from Wider Than a Mile. Wider Than a Mile floats a bit wide on that first turn, and the run around that first turn run. Wider Than a Mile, headstrong and on to take the lead from JJ's Honor in second. Up on the outside, Breeze Through Time has now moved into third from an on-hold La Cantera, tightened up while racing in fourth. Outside fifth is Mi Triguana. Down at the
24-2 for these horses is not slow at all. It's a decent quarter, meaning everybody in this race at this point right now has a shot.
Correct.
In front by a length, Breeze Through Time is second. JJ's Honor is
look at the 7 horse. It got bet down late to 3-1, David.
Yeah.
It went
5-1 was value, right? Right. At 3-1, I don't want it now.
Yeah. He's running nicely. 49-1, almost 2. 49-2, let's just say. The 4 is loaded with horse. He's running good. 7 is loaded as well. My 9 is struggling a little bit. And looks like it's going to be these 2 horses coming down to the 4.
And the 8's going to pack it in. Yep, you're right. That was a fast pace for these horses.
The 8 horse ended up going off at 21-1. And this is going to come down.
May run third. Yeah, and may run third.
7 might catch the 4.
I think he's going to.
Yeah.
It's your 9, Scotty.
Come on, 9.
Get up. Come on with this 9. Get up.
No, it just goes to show you, by the way, tactical speed, 7 ran huge. And we talked about that as well. Got that later by the CAWs. When you see a horse go from 5-1 and, down to 3-1 in the gate, that's all CAW. For sure.
Right. And again, the 7 was originally my pick, and I went off of it because I'm trying to be a wise guy because I'm a little chalky the rest of the way. So in retrospect, that may have cost me, but I think I did as I go in the gate, if I was at the NHC, I'd play the 7 at 5-1. And then it went down to 3-1. I'm like, okay, well, too late now. I would have locked it in.
Why do we even handicap these races? Look at the top EquinEdge picks and look at the race simulator. I mean, it's those three. It's those 3 horses, coming down the line there.
Right.
Here's the point I was going to make. So the 9 horse you can see has a 30 on the pace number, right? And then when you look at the 7, it's a 47, and that horse was being tactical. The point is when you naturally don't have speed, you have to work harder to stay closer to a slow pace. That's the point.
Exactly.
And so if you see where the top pace number is only 56% or 56, then you have to be thinking to yourself, okay, they're going to be going pretty slow. Now the 9 has to try to stay closer. The jockey's going to have to prod to stay closer. And other horses are just going to have a way better chance of finishing because they're naturally faster. And that was the case with the 4 and the 7 horse.
Yes.
And that's what I see anyways. In retrospect, if you think about it, the 7, although it was behind the 4 a little bit, is naturally faster than so the jockey was just sitting on the 7 the entire time. Had a lot of, right? Reyes knew how much horse he had.
Exactly.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, let's get to Belmont, race number 1. We both are on the 9 horse, who's 6-5. Hit that review. Was there? Why is this horse 6-5 and not 2-5?
Well, there are some interesting first timers here, and the 8's taking some money. Tis dashing, solid workouts, but is it Tis?
Marco Tag is 0-17 with first time starters.
Yeah, I was just going to point out, Scott, he doesn't win many times with first timers, but I will tell you this, Phil. We're looking at handicapping on the run, watching horses come on the track. I have to tell you, I don't pretend to be some kind of physiologist in equine flesh, but the 4 to me looks really good on the track. So when I see something like that, the horse, it just looks alert, on his toes, and so I'm going to use the 4 with the 9. Just as we speak, the 9 went down to even money. I think you're going to get 4 to 5 on the 9, but I'm using it with the 4.
Well, the 4 is the fastest horse in the race, but the 9's only going to be a length back. And here's the thing: the 6 horse, I would imagine, with Flavian is going to send. I mean, they added blinkers last time out, and they went directly to the lead under Dylan Davis, and now Flavian Pratt jumps aboard. So I would imagine that the 6 horse is going. The 6 horse is 5-2 on the EE morning line, by the way. I don't think, with the improvement that the 6 made last time out, why couldn't the 6 horse win this race? Right?
Yeah, the only let me see here. Coming out of a 5.5 furlong race, blinkers on first time. Tom's de Tot. I mean, I don't really. I guess the breeding, the turf is on the dam side, right? Tom's de Tot was not really but out of a smart strike. Yeah, I'm not sure if I really have an interest in that.
The Tom's de Tot was a dirt horse. You can see,
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And then the dam. Let's see, change of custody. Only raced 9 times and didn't really run very good. Raced a little bit on the turf, raced a little bit on the synthetic. It's hard to say what the breeding is there.
Yeah, I'm not sure I had an interest in that horse. The thing with Lucas is mischief. It's interesting that Mott decided to give this colt a first start at a mile and a 16th on the turf, right? You don't really look at Bill Mott's barn and say that they're really tuned up to win first time out. So that was a prep race. But the question I have here is why go to then drop back to 7 furlongs on the turf, showed speed and just stopped. So I have concerns about that horse. But like I said, it looks really nice, good on the track. And to keep in mind, this horse is at the Keeneland sales sold for $500,000.
I think he's all over the place with this horse. I don't think he knows what to do with this horse, honestly.
Maybe because it's not wasn't showing much in the morning on the turf. It was a turf workout there. Went to that's after the August 31st race. But it'd be interesting to see how the horse runs. I think just looking at the breeding, I think 6 may be a little short for the 4. But
the horse has the horse is the fastest horse in the race, but. I mean, it didn't break good last time out. It had the lead last time out and still lost by 22 lengths. And the fact that he goes 8.5 on the turf, then 7 furlongs on the dirt, now 6 furlongs on the turf, I think he's reaching. I really do. I couldn't back this horse. There's no way. I think that the trainer's showing signs of going, I don't know what to do with this horse. Let's try this. That's what it seems like to me. Whereas the 9 horse, I mean, it's just clear. Horse broke from the rail, then the 12 hole. I mean, this is listen, if they're going to give me 6-5 odds, I'm going to put a lot of money in my account and bet this. Like that's how I feel about the 9.
Right. I agree. To me, if I'm not playing horizontals on this early pick 5, the 9 to me would be a single.
Yeah.
Even that the 4 looks, I'm on a 4-9 exacta and maybe a little win money on the 4, just in case the 9 gets off slow out of the gate. But I think the 4 gets to lead, the 9 stalks, and I think it's going to be a pretty easy win for this 9.
Well, and look, it's really about the 8 horse is getting real action. The only reason why we're getting 6-5 odds on the 9 horse is because the 8's getting so much action. So clearly the 8 can run, but a lot of first-time starters don't break good. The 9 is faster than the 8 most likely and is on the outside of the 8. So maybe the jockey knows that and isn't going to really, go too fast on the 9.
Right.
He's got some stuff to think about, the jockey, but I do think that Rosario is strong. He's not going to have to think too much in this particular race. All right.
Right. Yeah, and I'll point out too, I think the reason that the 8's taking money, or part of the reason, is the Saratoga Stables. That's Jack Knowlton's Funny Side ownership, and they bet with they reach in their pockets quite often to make large wagers on their horses. So, but obviously this horse is well regarded. Picks up Johnny V, Hall of Fame jock. It wouldn't surprise me, but based on that last race that Hit the Review ran, it's going to be an awful difficult animal to beat here.
Yeah, 8's going into the gate a little bit slowly. 9 looks great. No, hesitated box right now. Goes in, and let's see what happens here. Let's see how the break is for the 9.
All right, good luck, everybody.
That's going to be the key, is this break. And the 9 breaks great out of the gate. 8 broke good as well. The 9's going to end up being wide now, and actually lets the 8 go.
Oh, wow. He's a lot further back than I thought.
I mean, that's a big surprise, honestly.
Dettori, what's he doing? It looks like a speed duel, though.
They are dueling. 3, 4, and 6 are dueling super fast. 7 at 23-1 sitting there. There's the first-time starter, the 8-horse Vermont, who's running very good. 9's loaded. Absolutely loaded.
9 is absolutely loaded.
On the inside.
Oh, boy. Going to the inside, though.
He's just sitting. I mean, he is on the best horse. He's going to go on the inside, and I hope he does. I hope he doesn't go outside. 7 horses giving him some trouble. There he goes. He's okay. He just got a slot there on the outside. He's going to go to the outside, I would imagine. There he goes.
He's going to have a little traffic problem. Maybe he's out. He's out.
Okay, so now he's dueling with the 8. Now it's a duel all the way.
There we do. It's a horse race, baby.
Wow, what
the
a
8's
race.
The real deal.
The
8 is the real deal.
8 was live.
Come on, what was his 9?
8 was absolutely live.
The 8 was absolutely live. Took all the money.
I would tell you this: the ride by Velasquez on the 8 was like, I thought the 8 was done, but he wasn't. He was waiting on the 9. Absolutely waiting on the 9. Incredible ride by Velasquez. It really was. That was a master ride. And
that was a nice horse race. Yep.
That was a really good horse race. Wow.
And I have to tell you, these are 2-year-old colts, and I think I'm going to make a statement here that these horses have some ability, and I think you're going to see these horses in stakes.
Oh yeah, they're finishing. Yeah, I saw that yesterday, Scotty. The Frankie Dettori, who's going to be out, dislocated his shoulder. He was going into the gate, and when he was going in the gate, the horse just kind of reared up, not really acting up that much, just kind of went up.
Oh, that's Rosario.
Yeah. And and then unfortunately, that was Dettori, and Dettori yesterday in the last race at Aqueduct, and Dettori broke his collarbone, I think.
Oh boy, sorry, I didn't hear that. I apologize. I like to get my facts straight, so thanks, Scott, for pointing that out. I don't like to make those mistakes, so I apologize.
What's up, Ryan?
Hey, Ryan.
Ryan's got his picks in.
Glad you're enjoying it.
Speaking of,
glad you're enjoying our pain.
Ryan is killing it on the feeders, and so he's got 3 entries into the qualifier today. So great job. Good luck.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
So we'll see a strategy. What would be your strategy if you had 3 qualifiers? How would you put those in?
I never liked the 3 entries. I'm more of a 2-entry guy. I don't. The 3rd, to me, I would take strictly a long shot ticket and just play 10-1 or 20-1 and above, and just put it aside, and then concentrate on the 2, and basically have your primary picks on 1, your secondary picks, and then flip flop them. That's the way I do the feeders now. With 2, it's a totally different strategy with 2 entries in Vegas, though, and we don't have time to get into a long discussion on that. But the third thing is 3 is a little confusing. How about you? You usually play 2. You very rarely play 3.
Yeah, no, I never played 3. I'll play 1 or 2. By the way, the 9 with Rosario came in at the top of the stretch, so there is a steward's inquiry into the 9. So if you have the 8-9 exacta box, you are in jeopardy. It does look like the 9 comes in. I know because Rosario, his record speaks for itself. He's one of the top jockeys, but I've just had no success with Rosario at all.
No, I have the same opinion. I just, the luck I have with Rosario is not great.
For sure, horses were affected. I would, no doubt about it. He's going to say he came in because the 8 came in a little bit, but the 8 did not come in enough for the move that Rosario came in. I'm gonna unfortunately guess that Rosario is going to get put down into 5th or probably 5th place. Probably.
Is this a steward's or is this a jockey's objection?
It's a steward's inquiry. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. It looks pretty obvious, but we talked about you couldn't make sense as to why the 9 horse wasn't 3 to 5, and the fact that it was 6 to 5, and the 8 horse was the one taking so much action into it. So you had to figure that the 8 horse was live. Had to.
Right. Absolutely. Like we said, I thought it was Saratoga stables reaching into their pockets. They knew they had a good thing. The horse was working out well. Yeah. But I thought, and again, in my opinion, and Joel is known to do this, he might have been a little too far back off that pace. When I saw him that far back, I thought he may have been in trouble. But
it honestly, that's what I'm talking about. Like if you look at the race simulator, I know it's not the real race. I get that. So no emails, please. But he shouldn't have been more than a length or 2 off of the front runners, and he was sitting there in last place. Like that's just a bad move. I mean, the bottom line is, and that's the difference in jockeys. And look at Rosario used to be at 22, 23%. Now he's at 16%.
Right. And again, he's a, I have to tell you, was the horse that he came over on tiring and just not have any chance to hit the board?
Well,
I think that might be
he wasn't going to win, no doubt about it, but it could have affected the 3rd and 4th positions and the 5th positions. So for that reason, if I'm a steward, I would take the 9 down if I was a steward. But I'm not a steward.
That sounds like a song. It sounds like it's a good start. If I was a steward, I'd take it down. If I was a carpenter, we could get that going here. Maybe get a rap song if I was a steward.
Are you ready to get to the qualifier?
Yes. Let's roll.
All right. I'm going to be able to help you here. I handicapped most of these races. I think maybe 3 of them I didn't.
You mean you actually did some work today?
I did some work.
I'm proud of you.
I wasn't going to let you continue to just beat my ass. What do you think? I have some pride, for God's sakes. Okay, let's run this race.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye on the blink there. Not that the $2.20 is going to make a difference at the end for us, but
yeah. So I thought the 3 horse Shimon Princess could go gate to wire in a race that's just loaded with speed, and I thought most of the speed in this race is the type of speed to stop. So if you don't think the 3 horse can go gate to wire, then you need to, maybe grab a horse that's a long shot you think can finish. But it does look like a lot of speed in here.
Yeah, the first thing that struck me here is that this race number 1 is 6 furlongs. And as I'm going through, there's some horses here that just have absolutely no speed. But the one thing, if I look at the morning line favorite 6 to 5 reflexivity, this horse just comes out of so much tougher races. I'm looking at the SOR, and that surprised me. Well, okay, so this horse has got the advantage at 66 SOR. You look at those allowance races at Saratoga, at Aqueduct, Kentucky Downs, and this horse drops in class now. And I just think this horse, even though it has a lack of speed, I think can stay close enough with the blinkers on. It's really a tough horse to leave off. But again, we're talking about a contest and a 6 to 5 morning line. The EE morning line is 5 to 2. So I agree with you. That's Scotty. Shaman Princess is a very fast filly. And I think this horse can get the jump. And the other two horses I thought may show a little more speed is a 6 Valentine Gift with blinkers on. But this horse comes out at 240,000, non-winners at 2. Let's see, the SORs are what? Let me see here, 57. So yeah, and Tariga's got some speed and wire to field a couple back. That horse now drops down. However, that Tariga is a New York State bred for Bond and now drops down. So I'm going to fade that horse. So it was either the 3 or the 8 for me here, Scotty. So because I like the speed and this horse is won at the distance over this course, I'm going to go with Reach Out. And again, I'm going to be a little chalky the rest of the way in these qualifiers. So I'm going to use a long shot on top here, the 3 Shaman Princess over. If I had the 2 tickets, I'd use the 8 Reflexivity on the other one. So it would be 3-8 for me.
The 8 doesn't seem right to me. Something's off with the 8. It's burn money. And it just doesn't, it seems, something seems amiss for me with this horse. This is going to be your favorite. I have no doubt about that.
Oh, yeah.
I was also thrown off by the EE morning line of 5-2 a little bit, right? And it's also only 25%. Why? It's dropping from a 70 SOR down to a 52. It's like kind of like lukewarm. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But it's tactical. It deserves a look. The 7 horse, the same thing. Where I was turned off by this horse, and it does look like the horse can rate, but its only win was going gate to wire. And so since then, it's really not shown the ability to rate or anything like that. It hasn't done anything. Also, a bad sign is, look at when I see, all of a sudden they're adding blinkers and the horse still doesn't run good. To me, they're struggling with this horse, trying to figure it out. So
and the thing is too, everybody, if those who listen regularly here, they know I'm a big fan of the Bond Barn. And I had a winner yesterday, which was nice. But and again, if I was playing horizontals, I'll definitely use the 7. I don't want to get beat, so I'd use a 3, 7, 8 here. But yeah, I agree with you. The 8 could be just something not right, and they're dropping down just to possibly get this horse claimed. But I just think when a horse has such a class edge, I can't leave him out. Leave her out, I mean. So
look,
yeah,
here's what you have to remember. When you use the race simulator, watch. And I agree, Justin. It just doesn't. When you watch, so take the 7 and 8, the top picks. Let's just say you don't think the 7's going to get a great trip. You don't trust the 8, and you go like this. Now run the simulator and look at this thing. It's like it's wide open, absolutely a grab bag, right? And so I have this saying that speed kills speed, and the 3 horse is the fastest of the speed horses. None of the others really look all that great. So I'm going to take the horse that could go gate to wire. And this was one of my plays, actually. And I also like that the GSR is going up 10 points on this horse and that it's done well. In fact, if you look, it went gate to wire going 6 furlongs on the turf here at Belmont, breaking its maiden. So in a tough race on paper, I'm going to take the 3 horse go gate to wire.
And we're on the same page. I'm shocked. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. So, yep, we're both on to 3.
Let me ask you a question. Would you give this 9 horse any look whatsoever?
No, I'm not. This is a New York bred central banker. It looks overmatched here, dropping down. Oh, this horse was claimed for 20. Edmund Pringle doesn't win many races, low percentage trainer. So Maldonado, the jock. Yeah, I'd have no interest in this horse whatsoever.
Yeah, me either. All right. Okay, let's go on to race number 7.
And not to interrupt you, Scotty, but they hit that review up for second.
They left the 9 up for second?
Yeah. $2.40. Yeah.
Okay. Well, good. That's a good thing. Okay. Let's go to race number 7. And
all right, so we're staying at Belmont. Okay, good. Let's just get Belmont done first. All right, race number 7 at Aqueduct, even though they call it Belmont.
So I thought the 2 horse, it's there's not much to beat in this race, and this is the first start against winners. I don't normally like horses like that, but I also think when I look at this horse, it seems to have a very bright future for McGahee. So, but there's Rosario. You know, who knows what he's going to do on this horse. He did have the 2-hole last time out. It was, 8 horses. There's more horses this time. There is a scratch. There's 10 horses, but I just think he's the best horse in the race. So I'm gonna go there.
Okay, interesting. I thought this was a really wide open race, so we're on totally different page. And I think the key to this race is the distance. So it's 9 furlongs, which is 1.1 miles. So it's 2 turns at the Big A, and Belmont would be 1 turn, going 1.1 miles out of that chute. So yeah, I thought this race was interesting. I know a lot of these horses in here that I've wagered on before. So I love these races, these older allowance races going 2 turns. And the concern I have with Pennington, there's a pentathlon and a Paddington. So let's go to pentathlon first. Now this horse is Spikestown out of Gone West. Does this horse want to go 1.1 miles? That would be my question. Also, just breaking its maiden now, moving up in condition. And I don't know what it beat in that last race. That was only at a mile.
David, I'm sorry. Which horse?
I'm talking about the 2 now.
The 2. Okay, got it.
Yeah. So this horse basically 3rd race off a layoff, won, and this horse has been. They bet this horse off the board the last 2, and don't forget 2 back. This horse got beat by Digital Ops, who was a 6th horse in this race. So when I look at this horse, I think it may be a challenge moving forward to 1.1 miles. Yeah, could the horse get the distance? Yeah, but I wasn't really impressed with the field in the last race. And then I'll go to Digital Ops, the 6, who I think is a logical contender for Chad Brown now. This is 3rd time off of a layoff. This horse started as a 2-year-old at 1 mile, didn't lift a hoof, and then comes back on June 30th and at 1 mile, which is 1 turn. And this horse basically went wire to wire and held on by a head and beat Pentathlon. Stretched out to 1.1 miles, but I will point this out. That race to me, that 1.1 miles race on August 17th was a bang up race. Look who finished 2nd in there, and that was Timeout, who's in the PA Derby tomorrow. Game Warden won that race, and I have to tell you, that was a repeat win for Game Warden at the distance. The first time that Game Warden won at Saratoga at the distance was back on Jim Dandy Day, because I was there. I was all over Game Warden, and Game Warden just freaked on that track twice. That Game Warden loved that Saratoga strip, won 2 in a row at 1.1 miles at a pretty decent price on each one. And then he goes down to Churchill last week, or this past week, and he didn't really fire as the favorite. So I just think Game Warden, that race is better than it looks. And I think that even though the 6 did not win in 1.1 miles, it shows you the issue with breaking your maiden at 1 mile, moving up to 1.1 miles. I think this horse may be a little better a second time at 1.1 miles. That's why I give that horse a little preference over the 2. But the horse I'm really trying to make here, and it may be a mistake, but I'm going to go with it anyway, is the 3 Paddington. This horse had won at 1.1 miles on a sloppy track and just really aired. So I'm going to not put too much weight on that race back in June of 23 at Ellis Park. Comes to Saratoga and just wires in a field. Then tries to wire a field off the turf, and then seems to go off form, having speed, and then dies. Now, I'm really impressed with the race off the layoff on May 19th. This horse, for the first time, he stalked and took the lead at 1.1 miles, but just kind of tired at the end and lost to Mystical Curlin, who's a hard-hitting older horse. Yeah. I don't know what happened the last time, but you look at who won the race, Unmatched Wisdom. And that horse is also in the PA Derby, a tough 3-year-old. I think off a refreshing, a decent workout. It is Linda Rice, has won 2 races at the distance. I'm going to give a shot that Paddington is going to run a much improved race here. So I'm going to use the 3 on one ticket and the 6 on the other. So it will be 3 Paddington over the 6 Digital Ops for me, Scotty.
Okay. Sounds
and actually, Aldi just mentioned Donegal's Surges, and I just wanted to mention that really quick because I agree that this horse, but stopped the last time at 4-5 on a muddy track. Didn't seem to care for the surface. But what concerns me is that the horse didn't seem to have a problem with the surface on June 9th and ran a pretty nice race. So I don't know if something's off there. I guess maybe Ortiz, Irad just eased the horse and said, we'll move on to another day. But I'm not sure that Donegal Surges really wants a mile and an eighth either. So it's all 3-6 for me.
All right. Well, the GSR does go up, but who knows what was going on there. Now they're putting an allowance nominals of 1, so, that would be the logical place to put this horse. It certainly has a look. It's been facing better. But even here, like it ran, what you can see is at 23% to win and a 76 GSR, the horse barely won the race against 5 other horses going 7 furlongs. Now 9 furlongs. You can compare it to here. It ran second. This wasn't bad. It was a muddy track. I don't think we know who's going to show up here, but we're not going to be surprised if the 5 horse wins. So
exactly.
I do think the 2 horse, though, I think this horse has some upside. We'll see. You talked about here on 6-7 or on 6:30 where the Digital Ops beat Pentathlon. Well, I mean, that was so. The one thing about Chad Brown, like he's going to get a horse ready to go, and they're going to fire. But now you just see this horse now is 10%. A lot of times, Chad Brown is a master. Baffert is a master. Pletcher, same but especially Brown and Baffert, they can get horses to win first time out and or horses to really fit early. But how are they going to start doing later? And I think when you're talking about McGahee, methodically just getting this, I think this horse is just doing it naturally. I have a feeling this horse is going to be a decent horse. And obviously it barely lost against Digital Ops last time out, and then is coming into this race, in my opinion, with off of a much better race, although it was a maiden race. But clearly they fit with each other. That's certain. And the win percentage with the system is 37% compared to the 6 horse at 6% or 10%. So I've got to trust that the system can see that the 2 horse is just a better horse than what the 6 is now. So,
right, and it's, to me, a mile and eighth is similar to 7 furlongs, Scotty. I always look at who's won at the distance before, because, and again, not to say that a horse who just broke his maiden at a mile has got some ability, can't move up to a mile and eighth. I mean, and just as a matter of fact, Scott, I just want to answer Scott's. Yes, I'm a Curlin fan. How did you know that? 2 of my favorite horses of all time are Curlin and Bernardini. Yeah.
All right, I have the 1 horse. Who do you have?
I have the 4.
Here we go.
It looks like it's a 2-horse race. It's going to be 4-1.
Target from the outside. Makoa tries to go get him while shifting ground. Back to third, Reneg. 1/8 of a mile to go. Makoa starts to gain ground on Fastidious. Fastidious on the outside.
I mean, you got to watch these horses. Second time out. You got to watch these. You got 3-1 on this horse over 8-5 on the 4. 1-4.
Right. Good call, Scotty. Yeah.
Thank you.
We thought this horse would have the lead. So this horse, that's even more impressive. Basically a wide close. Yeah. So, all right. Scotty's on the board. I got 2 seconds.
All right. Here we go. We got Belmont or BAQ coming up in 5 minutes from now. I think it's 5 minutes from now. Let's see here. No, it's 11 minutes from now. Excuse me.
Right. So, Scotty, you're solid on the 2, correct?
I love the 2 horse. Yeah, I really do. I think I'm going to play a pick 6 and I'm going to single the 2.
Okay, I'm playing a pick 6 and I'm leaving the 2 out. I'm using the 3 and the 6.
Yeah, I'm. By the way, the pick 6. There's a double pick 6 carryover at Belmont today at the Big A, and it'd probably be $500,000 to $700,000. It's a $1 denomination, so you might want to get involved in that. But I am gonna put in a ticket, of course.
Yes, I put a ticket in already, and you'll kind of know as we go through these last couple of races who I'm using.
Well, and that starts in race number 4 as well. So. Yeah. And we're going to be covering, I think most of those races, so that'll be a good thing. So, all right. So we last covered race number 7. I have the 2, you have the 3 and the 6 on 2 different entries, and then in race number 8, I think we're looking at a blanket finish, but I think I might have found something in the 9 horse Gold Lightning, and I'll run the race, but I really like the race that the 9 comes out of, and it's just extremely tough race. By the way, the 5, 6, 8, and 10 come out of the same last race, and any one of them could have won. In fact, Vino Rouge, the 10 horse, won the race and then got disqualified and put back to 4th. But it was in the inner turf. And when people talk about how you can come from behind, try to come from behind. And if you can get a chance to watch the video of that race and look and see how narrow that turf course was. And it's so easy when you have 10, 12 horses in a race. These horses are bumping into each other, cutting each other off. I mean, it's just a mess. Very dangerous, some of those turf races when the course is that narrow, David. But watch that race. The point is that Pretty Anna, Dancing Dean, the Vino Rouge could come back and do well. The horse is more tactful than the other ones, and then the other one is the 6-horse Toy Collector. Any one of those 4 horses could have won that last race that they come out of, which was the 8-16 race. So you're going to have a tough decision to make. I came on the 9 only because the 9 ran a heck of a race over at Ellis Park, and I really feel like that was a strong race, and I liked the horses that were in that race. But by no means is this a cinch.
No, out of all the races, Scotty, to me, this was by far the most inscrutable race that I really struggle with. And in all honesty, I think if I'm going to be knocked out of the pick 6, this is probably the race, and I refuse to go all. So I'm going to whittle it down. Yeah, I agree. 5, 6, 8, 10, anyone could have won a race. The 10, even though this horse got DQ'd, won the race, got DQ'd. And if the 10 runs back to that race, going to be very tough. But I'm thinking maybe the good turf course moved this filly up a bit. So to me, the horse I'm really trying to make here, and I think has ability but has disappointed me a little bit, is the 5 Dancing Dean, Bill Mott's horse. This horse came off a layoff. I mean, it's well-bred Constitution. This is a New York State bred. I'm sorry, Kentucky bred. And started on the 7 furlongs on the dirt, really kind of more bred for the turf, then stretched out on the turf and closed. This horse has no speed. That would worry me. But this horse will be flying at the end. But the key is, I mean, is there enough pace? So in all honesty, I'm easily going to use the 5 out of all those horses. I think this horse may be able to, I'm hoping to be a little closer to the pace. Had the rail post last time out, which didn't do it any justice. So I'm going to use the 5
horse. The 5 horse, David, look, I have a note on this horse. Inner turf, too wide, was the widest horse in the race. Yeah. This horse was finishing absolutely broke last. This horse is going to break last again. This is not, it's just a slow breaking horse. There's a chance this horse can win this race based on it going to the outer turf. The rail's still 36 feet out though. And, we'll see. But the bottom line is this horse is going to be at the mercy of a couple of things. It's going to be at the mercy of pace, and then it's going to have to get around every single horse. So, that's not an easy thing. If you just asked me which is the best horse in the race, I would probably tell you the 5. But with the horse's style, it's going to be last early, and it's going to have to get the trip. It could get it, but it's more likely that it won't get the trip. Everything's got to go perfect.
Right. And if you look at the replay of that race, which I did, the Vino Road race, the 8 Pretty Anna had just a terrible trip.
Trip.
And so just off that, to me, again, I think I'm giving away the horses I'm using in the pick 6, and the 8 has got to be included along with the 5. But there's a horse here that I'm kind of interested in knowing that this 6 Toy Collector picks up Joel Rosario. And Joel usually will do everything he can to rate a horse rather than go to the lead. So I'm not sure the 6 is really going to be the lone speed. The horse, anytime Safi Joseph has a horse in a race, he had a good Saratoga meet. I always take a second look, and I'm referring to the 2 No Mo Candy. Now this horse is an Uncle Mo. I know the GSR is a little on the low side, 64, but I mean, this horse just interests me because of that workout on September 13th. If I go back, this horse she debuted at going a mile and 70 on a synthetic. Okay, I'm not sure what the quality of horses were in that race, and finished a neck behind. Close. That's a good first out. But I think this horse definitely improved the next time out, staying closer to the pace, and was bet off the board. And as I know, it's a 6-horse field, and maybe the quality wasn't that great there. But first time turf, as Scotty knows, is a great angle for me on a horse that I think is well bred enough to possibly upset the apple cart here. So I mean, 10 to 1 morning. I think you'll get 12 to 1. This horse is going to be overlooked because they're all going to play the 5, 6, 8, 10, then the 9, and maybe the 11. This horse is, I think, going to get lost on a board with Eric Cancel. So I'm going to take a shot here with the 2. So I'm going to use the 2. Or if on one ticket, if I had a second, I'd use the 5. And for pick 6, it would be 2, 5, 8, 2, 5, 8, and 10 for me.
Okay. 2, 5,
so 2 for the contest.
Okay. Absolute grab bag. I'm on the 9 Gold Lightning. Who knows? I might even just take a risk and single a horse like the 9. I might do that. But I would agree with you, by the way. Pretty Anna, to me, was the best horse in that last race. Vino Rouge had a perfect trip and still couldn't get the win. To me, if we can get Pretty Anna, who I think is faster than Pretty Anna broke slow last time out. I don't know if that was part of it, checked and altered, obviously down the stretch. I mean, you and I both saw the same thing. Pretty Anna was probably best in the race. And yes. Flavian comes back. I think he's going to have her closer to the pace. I'm leaving out the 10 for sure because I just feel like the horse had a perfect trip last time out. So I'm only using the 9 and the 8 in my pick 6.
Right, and also I want to point out the distance is a little tricky too. We're going now 1 mile and 3/16, and that last race a mile and a 16th. So this should be interesting because usually the pace. So that's why I'm leaning toward the 2 a little bit because I think it'll be a slower pace, and maybe this 2 will get a clear lead. Cancel though is another tricky jockey. So I'm dealing with 2 jocks that I'm not sure who's going to have the worst ride, Cancel or Joel Rosero here. But I think one of them will be smart enough to go for the lead. I'm hoping it's Cancel, knowing you got the rail, and let's try to plot along at a slow pace and try to wire this field to Momo Candy.
Yeah, I mean, again, the problem that anybody's going to have in this race is the trip that whatever horse they choose. I know Ryan, you've got on your entries, you got the 2, 5, and 10. 2 horses tactical. That's a good thing for the 2. And the 5 horse is going to have to get the trip. Probably the best horse in the race, but can it get the trip? And I think Pretty Anna can run a good race here for Chad Brown as well. That horse did not have a good trip last time out and probably would have won that race based on the video that I watched. And I'll tell you another one too. And you touched on this 6 horse is not out of the race. I don't know why that Jose Ortiz had this horse so far back. I don't know if it was just a really bad break, but you can see steadied a 16th to the wire. And we both saw that as well. But the 8 was in front of the 6. So that's why I'm kind of thinking that the 8's better than the 6, but the 6 is lightly raced. Could have learned a ton from that race and be very, very tough. And that was also the first race against winners. So I don't think you can easily throw out the 6 horse too. But again, that's the type of race this is. Why don't we get out to Belmont? They've got 1 minute before the 3rd race or the 2nd race.
And I'll just point out the 6, and again, is my nemesis, Clement Barn. He's 1 for 17 at the Belmont meet, so coming back downstate and a little cold. I'm concerned with those Delaware races that those could have been weak fields. That horse was bet off the board in both races, and one missed in one and then won the other. So I think the step up in class would concern me here.
All right, so you've got the 3 horse and I have the 1 horse, correct?
Yes, let me just get to my, let's see, 2nd race at the Big A. Yes, I have the 3 over, the 3 over the 1. And I have to tell you, Kubrick Scotty at 5 for 2 to me is, I thought the horse would be less than that unless it takes lead money. A little dead on the board.
Well, I don't know. And we look at the EE morning line. When it's 4 to 1 on the EE morning line, but I just think it's that kind of race on paper, right? I like the Lasix back on this horse, and I'll be I'll be very happy if Manny sends this horse right away. But sometimes I think he's confident that he's on a good horse is what it is. And then sometimes they get overconfident, but there is no pace. I mean, none.
Right. The lack of pace is concerning. And I'm hoping that the 3 Rendon just guns to the lead here with this horse. I mean, it's only a mile and a 16th. I'm not sure Manny Franco's going to, we'll see. To me, either the 1 or the 3, it could be a 2-horse race around the track, 1-3.
You know what's interesting to me? Now, I get that that it's Chad Brown, but Pratt won on the 5-horse last time out and gets off. And the 5 is the favorite, Battle of Normandy.
Yeah, Battle of Normandy is eligible to win this race, but I just think that the pace, the lack of pace hurts, even though he did wire that field with a lack of pace. But yeah.
All right, they're going into the gate. There's the 6-horse. Let's see what Manny Franco does. I mean, it's a mile and the 16th, $100,000, and this race could be won at the start. Let's see what happens.
Good luck, everybody.
And Manny sends.
Yeah, Manny sent, and the 3 kind of is rating, which I don't agree with, but
I love what Manny did there. Smart.
Yes.
That was a smart move.
Can I
First time, easy lead in a slow pace.
Can I do in-race wagering right now and put a lock on the 1, put $200,000 to win on the 1?
Right?
Yes. Especially 25 and
25 and 3.
Yeah.
25 and 3. That horse.
Don't ask me what the 3 is doing next to last. That's puzzling to me.
Look, and the 5 is not pressuring. The 5 is just sitting back there. And, I mean, watch. They're going to go 51 for the half. Right.
And we'll see. I told you Kubrick's been disappointing me, but no excuses today. If Kubrick doesn't win this race, this horse is off my list.
51 and 3 for the half. I mean, you could not go any slower.
And this is a mile and the 16th.
Mile and the 16th. This is not a mile and an 8th. I mean, they are crawling. 1 horse is in the lead over Battle of Normandy, who's your favorite at 2-1, who seems to have horse. And the 2's on the rail, seems to have horse. 6 is coming. 3 is kind of running with its head up a little bit. But Manny Franco's holding all the cards here with the 1. But the 5's been confident all along. Took the turn really good on the 1.
Oh, yeah. Yep, I think the 1's still going to be.
Come on, Manny. All the way with this 1.
Come on, hold on with this 1. Come on,
all
Manny.
The way.
He's got it. He's got it.
All the way.
He's got it.
All the way.
Nope, oh, no. And here comes it.
Oh, 5-2-1. What a race. What a race.
Yeah, I told you, Kubrick, I just don't trust. I reached out with the wrong horse because I wasn't sold on Battle of Normandy. But you see that Chad Brown had 2. So he goes out with the speed, figuring, okay, well, let's go out to the lead, even at those slow fractions. The horse is not reliable. That was my concern with Kubrick. Yeah. But again, I would have if we had in race wagering, I would have been up. It would have been.
You can see what I'm looking right now at the 2 horse. The stride of the 2 and the way the 2 is reaching, like that horse should be on your horses to watch for sure.
Correct. I agree.
So like that horse had everything going against it. And the way it finished up, like I'm going to re-look at that 2 horse, and I'm going to make sure that I follow that 2 horse. And the winner that's the horse that Flavian Pratt chose or got off of Battle of Normandy. So for Chad Brown, that was a really impressive effort by the 2. I think they knew that effort was coming, huh?
Yeah, and again, maybe they knew that the 1 is questionable, no matter. Either on a lead or a stalking. It's like I said, it's 1's been really disappointing. 3rd race off a layoff. The John's Call was such a, that's a mile and 5/8, and there was no pace. His horse was such a slow pace. I thought that was a weak race, and was favored and got a bad bump start, and totally. Even though I don't know if the bump start would have costed 2 in that last race because the horse got no speed anyway.
Yeah. Well, whatever it was, here's the thing: horses come in and out of form. That was a very strong 68 race. I mean, that really was a strong race. And I mean, Battle of Normandy is a very, very nice horse in his own right. It was a super impressive race. And this horse has earned 410,000 in 11 tries, and now a little bit more. But I think that this is a really strong group. I mean, look at these horses and the money they've earned in the short time.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. I mean, that 2 horse coming from so far back in a race where they crawled like that was pretty impressive. So, anyways, that's a horse I am going to follow. All right. So, Gulfstream Park race number 3 is coming up in 10 minutes from now. And then where did we leave off, anyways?
We were at Belmont. See, I'm getting this Belmont at the Big A confused. We were leaving off at the Big A, and we were going through the 8th race where I like the 2 and the 5. And we're just summing up about concluding our opinions on that race. So we're going to move on to the 9th. So you're in on who in the 8th?
So who did we have in race number 7? Let me look at that again. Race number 7, I had the 2 horse, and you had the 3 and the 6.
3 Paddington over the 6 Digital Ops, correct.
Okay, and then we had race number 8. And in race number 8, I believe I had the 9 horse Gold Lightning. That's right.
Right, and I have the 2 No Mo Candy over the 5 Dancing Dean.
Okay, now we're going to go to Belmont race number 9.
Race number 9 at the Big A. All right, let me just pull that up. Okay, so we have at race 9 a mile and 16 turf race, a maiden 40,000 claimer for open company fillies and mares 3 and up. Okay.
You know, and we've got 3 droppers in here. 3 droppers coming out of maiden special weights, and that's this race came up very, very tough and competitive. I narrowed this down to 1, 8, 9, and 10. But I'm sure I left out a horse that you're going to use on top.
Most likely, yeah. I thought let's go first to the drop downs from the maiden special to the 40, which is probably the biggest drop in racing. Yeah. So the first one is past tense, drawing the rail for Tony Dutrow. The concern I have is, Scotty, is this horse has had 9 starts and hasn't broken her maiden. And it's usually not a horse that I'm interested in. Too many starts. I just think this may be a horse that's going to have a really tough time breaking its maiden at any level. And then I thought the 2 and the 3 were throwouts. So I'm going to the other horses that are drop downs. The 6, Jenna's Mercy. Actually, the 2 is a late scratch, and so is the 4. So the 2 and 4 are out. Jenna's Mercy, Bruce Brown's barn is relatively cold. I mean, he's 6 furlongs with this horse. Didn't really lift the hoof at 52-1. Adds Lasix. I'm not interested in this horse. Philly's Finest for Clement. Here we go with Rosario again. He gives us an interesting ride and then wins the race. This horse chipped down to Parks at 7.5 furlongs and had a bang up second, but I'm not sure there's any quality in that field, to be honest with you. And this horse was bet as the favorite and didn't come through. And I'm just not sure. Flame Away, this horse has got any real upside. So as you can see, I'm starting to poke holes in the drop down. Sale Leaseback started out his career at the Big A, 6 furlongs, shipped down to Monmouth, which is Chad Brown's 2nd string. I'm not really interested. So it leads me to Wild Iris, too long of a layoff for me. I'm not crazy about violence on the turf. So I've eliminated all the drop downs. So the horses that I'm interested in, and it just kind of sticks out at me. And again, this horse would have to improve, granted, but I think picking up Pratt is the key here. That's a 7 True Myth for John Terranova. Now, this is a Mendelssohn. These Mendelssohns can run okay on the turf. This horse started out as a 2-year-old, basically with no Lasix, and had just basically runs around the tracks twice and didn't really show much. Dropped down to a maiden 40 off a long layoff, Lasix on, and just steadied early and no chance whatsoever. So I'm going to throw out that race on June 23rd totally. And then was scheduled for a turf race on August 16th, and that was off the turf. I'm going to throw that race out. This horse is meant, obviously Turnover thinks this horse is a turf horse, filly. So I'm going to throw that race out also. So throwing 2 races out, I know is a challenging thing to do, but I'm going to take a shot with True Myth here. And I just think this is a weak maiden 40, and the drop downs from maiden special weights to the claimer are all questionable. And I guess if I was going to use a second horse, I mean, I guess I'd use Philly's Finest. I don't have any confidence in past 10. So I'm going to do 7 on my primary ticket and 8 on my secondary.
Catherine says, hi, Catherine, by the way.
Pratt's out. Okay.
Pratt's shoulder went out yesterday, huh? I hadn't heard that. Okay.
All right. Let's see who the jock is.
I don't think we're
Pratt. Oh, yeah. He went out with, yes, it's still, Pratt's still on.
Pratt's still on?
That's what I have here. Yeah.
Yeah. We have it as well. I don't know if they've put in the jockey change yet, but so I look at a horse like the one horse. It's 36%. It's 9-5 EE morning line. Top EquinEdge pick. Top GSR. You're right though. I mean, but in 9 tries against much better than what's lined up today, the horse has 2 seconds and 3/3. So to me, the horse is trying, and that's a big deal to me. And I look at the 10 horse, and I see this horse dropping from 52 SOR. It only lost by a length and a quarter last time out. And I see, but it's got 2 layoff lines and 2 races for Chad Brown. The 8 horse, I mean, there's nothing wrong with this horse. It improved big time second time out. And now it goes up in win percentage, up in GSR, and facing 8 points easier, even though that was at Parks for Christophe Clement. And then you've got the 9 horse. Joe Sharp is 22% with 93 samples off the claim. And he says this horse belongs here at 40,000, even though he claimed the horse for 20. He could have easily put this horse back in. He's out of jail. Could have easily put this horse back in for 20, but doesn't. What do you make of that? Maybe that's because he just wanted to try turf because he liked the effort against better horses on the turf. Maybe that's the case. I still don't see it. So I can't use the 9. I think he's just trying turf. And so that's why he's jumping up for 40,000 because that's the lowest level he could find. So that's it. So for me, it's got to be the 1, 8, or 10. And I'm struggling with these 3. Anybody have a point about these? Help me with one of these 3 horses, David. What do you think about these horses? Give me a reason why you would not play for sure the 1, 8, or 10.
Oh, okay, so you're not using the 9. So the 9, nope. Bam. Nope. Okay, 1, 8, or 10. I said that, again, past tense, the 1 horse has 9 starts. You're right, a couple of seconds, thirds, always there. But to me, that's just a horse. It's almost like the profile of just not getting it done. Like going to run well, but not winning. It doesn't have the heart to win. That concerns me. If that horse only had 5 starts, is not dropping down to 40, I'd like her better. So 1, 8, or 10. I'm not crazy about the move. Chad Brown, Monmouth, second. That's usually second string.
Okay.
I mean, if that horse is any good, she'd be at Saratoga. So I guess out of those 3, because it's more lightly raced, I'm going to go with your old nemesis, Joel Rosario on Philly's Finest. This horse should be right, close to the pace. I am concerned about the 11 American Kestrel is the speed, right? With Katie Davis. Yeah. Is she going to get this horse out on a clear lead? So I think maybe the 11 gets a clear lead and the 8 stalks. And so out of those 3, I'd probably land on the 8 if I have the option of those 3, the 1, 8, or 10.
All right. Well, because it's a flip of the coin for me. So so I'm going to go with the 8.
Okay, and I'm on the 7.
In the pick 6, I'm going to use the 1, 8, and 10. Okay.
Okay, and I'm going to use the 7 and 8. I think I'm going a little light and trying to get a little. Okay. Yep.
All right, so they're close to the gate over at Gulfstream Park, race number 3. I have the 6-horse Sophia Storm. You have the 2-horse Twizzle. It's an interesting race. I didn't love the race. I thought the 1-horse was a player as well. The 4-horse is the horse to beat. It's exactly what we thought. This horse is 3 to 5. What I'm hoping for is the 7's going to duel with the 4, but the 7 can rate a little bit, might sit on the outside and get a perfect trip. That's definitely a possibility for the 7-horse. Do you see any? I mean, the simulator has the 4-horse winning for fun, but do you see any? I think the 4 is going to probably go gate to wire, but any scenario with the 7-horse winning this race?
Yeah, I thought the 7 was a logical contender, Scotty.
Okay.
It's 7 to 1. If you tell me you want to use it, I think I prefer the 7 over. You compare the price, the 7 and the 6. I would prefer the 7 at that price, and it's all about value, right? I mean, if you're looking for value, there's nothing wrong with 7 to 1. But I like my pick Twizzle at 21 to 1. I'm going to use a 4-2 exactly in that case.
Okay. Put it in perspective, like especially at 5 to 2 odds, and you're the slowest horse in the race. I'm certainly not betting the 6-horse.
Right.
Oldie, I haven't put it together yet, but you guys can help me put this big 6 ticket together coming up. So probably after this race number 3 at Belmont, we're done with the feeder races. I'll put in a big 6 because it starts in race number 4. So I do have to do that.
Right. And so if we help you put a successful ticket together, do we get a percentage if you have in the store?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The check's in mail. Send me a check. I trust you.
For sure.
Send me a check for 5%. I'll be happy with it.
Yeah.
5% of 700K. That's fine. All right. They're off. Good luck, everybody.
All right. Here we go. They're going.
Down up the inside goes Major Price ahead of Twizzle, and outgunned in the early stages is Sophia Storm. The pace is
So the 7 is pressing the 4.
Yes.
The 7 is pressing the 4. Like that absolutely is a help for both the 1 and the 6. The 1's way closer to the pace than I imagined, to be honest with you. And 22 and 1 is pretty fast for these horses. It's
Yes, absolutely is.
And the 5 defendants running a decent race. It looks like the 7 might even have the measure of the 4. 4 is definitely struggling. I would imagine the 6 should be closing at some point, getting everything she could have wanted.
Has yet to get her best foot forward. She's rallied.
Yeah, the Twizzle's not any good here. The 5 looks like a clear winner.
Off the turn and the stretch drive.
I mean, 6 is coming on the rail. Here goes the 1. All right, yeah, we talked about the 1 and the 6 closing. That's exactly what's going on. Come on, 6.
Yep.
I chose the wrong one, it looks like. But 6 is closing. Going to get second. No, we had the horses. We had the horses.
You had the horses, not me. I reached out with my 2 for loyalty. So much for loyalty. The horse runs dead last. Forget it. I'm done with Twizzle. I misjudged that race that the horse would move forward at 20, but I get 25 to 1. So there's nothing wrong with taking a shot with a 25 to 1 shot. You get a second, but I totally misread this.
Well, if you like the horses too, it doesn't hurt that they're the EquinEdge second pick and long shot. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, this is what it looked like. Like if you didn't believe in the 4, look who's closing in the simulator. It's the 1 and the 6.
Right.
Boom. Right.
Well, we'll say right. They made one good decision by trying to beat the 4. So I'll look at the positive side of that.
Well, we knew that the horse was going to go. Look at 2. This horse was 3 to 5, and it drifted up to even money. So if you look to see the CAWs, they weren't loving this horse. They weren't loving this horse. Not at those odds. They weren't loving this horse.
Exactly.
And then the 6 horse got bet down to 5 to 2 to 2 to 1. So it took some action. And I can't remember what the 1's odds were, but. The 7 horse, we talked about that horse maybe helping us with the 4 and softening up the 4, and that's exactly what happened.
Exactly.
All right, so Belmont race number 3.
How many minutes to put? We got some time, I think.
You've got, this is a tough race, really tough race. You're on the 1 horse. I'm on the 8 horse, who's dead on the board, by the way. Parkerness is absolutely dead on the board. The 1 horse is 5 to 2 lukewarm favorite, but I think this race is literally like pick a number. There's got to be a price horse here. If the 8's dead, there's no speed in here. Who's going to clear?
Parkerness or the 6.
I don't think it's going to be could the 6 clear?
And no, the thing with Eric Cancel, very rarely does he clear. He he's got the tendency, Scotty. He likes to close, and I think that's his strong point. But yeah, I think Parkin's with Ruben Silvera, who's usually more aggressive going for on the pace. I think the 8's going to have the clear lead. That's the way I.
What about the 3? And what about the 3 in Maldonado? Maldonado getting 116 pounds. Horse needs the lead. He could send hard. I mean, this horse is not impossible. This horse, has a look.
Yeah, and at the price too, Watasha would. I know I didn't like the horse originally because of the long layoff, but this horse is Jordan Wyckoff. It's Joe Sharp, former horse. This horse could be dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't particularly love my horse, the one at 5-2. I mean, and that's the peril with the pick and pray, right?
Yeah.
So if we're at the NHC, obviously it's not a pick and pray, and Scotty and I are sitting at the same table, and I think we both agree that even though I like the 1 at 5-1 morning line, I'm not going to use it in the NHC at 5-2. Correct? You wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't a race. I would love to play the race, but I don't know who I would play. I genuinely don't know who I'd play. I mean, I took a risk on the 8 horse, but this horse is this horse is extremely dead on the board. Really.
And since this is the road to the NHC, I just want to point something out also is that you can make your selections in advance the night before the NHC, which I would say to do a lot of your work the night before. At least one day in advance, at least have a game plan. I'll get into it later, as we go through this series, that what the strategy is. But I mean, I don't think, and I know a past winner, I think Paul Colonial last year, or maybe one of the past winners just made his picks in advance and never changed. But I don't think, I don't play that way. This may have been a optional race for me, and I would have used the 1 at 5-1. But sitting at the table, if I'm at the NHC at 5-2, I'd probably pass and not have a backup. So I would X out of this race and say, I'll save my bullet for another race. So sometimes the way I prefer to play the NHC is I'll call an audible at times and be a little flexible. To me, I don't want to be locked into a horse if I don't think the value is there, because, a couple of dollars can make the difference between making the cut or just being right outside the outside perimeter, right? And I don't want to risk it unless this was a mandatory with a 5-2 shot.
So we got 5 minutes before this race. And who's the best looking long shot in this race? So you're just looking going, or let me rephrase that.
That's a challenging question. There's a bunch of ugly looking long shots here.
There is. Okay. That's why I'm going to rephrase it. That's exactly the reason I'm going to rephrase this. Who's the horse most likely to be in the money?
Okay. If I was, again, relating it to the NHC, say if it was Saturday and I'm outside the cut and I need some dollars, but I still have enough races where I don't feel I have to chase, cap horses.
Yeah.
I'd probably use the 6. I know Chowder Paul doesn't win a lot of races, but this horse does have speed, blinkers on. And at 18-1, there's a chance that speed could be real good here. And this horse could hold on for a second. So that's the horse I'd probably go with, the 6 Badlands Rule. If you insist on a long shot.
Right.
That would be my call.
Because we're looking at this race and we're struggling so much with a bunch of horses that either have some physical issues or look that they're probably going to stop. And I normally wouldn't take a horse to come from so far back, but I really do think the 5 or the 7. The more, if I could change my play, I would change it to the 5 or 7. And the fact that the 7 horse is a horse to watch, and it's getting bet at 5-2, it's going up in GSR from 55 to 65, and it just has that look. It broke from the rail here, and it's cutting back in distance. And let's see how far back early. This horse can be. I would think this horse is going to be 8 lengths back early. The fact that the system is saying it might not be as far back as we think, and it's also the top EquinEdge pick. I think maybe I would, as far as a horse to be in the money, I would think that I would give it to the 7, and I think the 5 horse at 6-1 might run a good race as well.
Yeah, I don't trust Gary Shiaka cutting back from 1.70 a horse with no speed, blinkers off, going 7 with a not much pace in the race. And the 7, I don't trust at all. I just think this horse, again, may have a class edge here a little bit, but I don't see either of those horses, to be honest with you.
There's such cheap speed in here.
Yeah.
We've got 3 minutes before this race here at Belmont Park. We can't show you the race, but we'll give you the race call for sure. And by the way, too, like I want to give a shout out to my team. I haven't done it in a while, but they deserve a lot of credit. Big shout out to Ryan and Ramey and Brad, of course, and Malcolm and Kathy and Riley and Anna and Amy. And of course, all the talent too. You got Oldie and Justin and Chris and more. We've got guys, Derek coming on now, and you, David. Like it takes a lot of people to put all this together. If people would.
And I just want to say this, but thank you for letting me join the EquinEdge team. I've had such a great time doing it. And I will tell everybody, it's just everybody here, since I joined, they are such hard workers. Everybody puts the work in. They're very knowledgeable handicappers. But I think we've all seen on other networks and other podcasts, some guys, they just don't do the work, right? And it's kind of like which is fine. But I just want to point out, everybody on this team does an incredible amount of work and preparation for these shows, and I appreciate the help everybody's giving me.
Yeah, they do. A big shout out to Tony as well. Tony comes on once in a while on the show as well, and big shout out to him. He does a great job, it's a hardworking team, super smart. We're developing some technology that we're always first to market on the stuff that we're doing, and we're going to continue doing it. We think that next year is going to just be incredible with all the stuff we're developing. So we might even have, hopefully, crossing my fingers, David, we might even have foreign races next year. So
wow,
yeah.
So are you sending me to Hong Kong next year? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Well, listen, if you want to come with me, then we have a deal. But listen, I always let everybody else go to these trips. That's the one I'm going to go.
Hong Kong?
Huh?
I don't think I could last on a plane for 21 hours going to Hong Kong, to be honest with you. But thanks for the invitation. I'll do it remotely.
I don't think Anna's letting me go without her anyways.
Right.
Yeah. I don't think she's going to let me go.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Okay, so you're on the 1 horse. I'm lukewarm on the 8 horse. The 8 is getting played late. I don't know. Maybe are people ignoring this horse? Maybe the CAWs are betting this horse late. I don't know. I mean, it's hard. I have a hard time reading the races at Timonium, but I mean, this horse does look like it can rate. It's tactical on the outside. It might even be the fastest horse in the race. If you look at the race simulator, it could be the fastest, right, and sitting off of the 3 and the 6. And I'm looking forward in this race to see how your one horse runs, especially off the layoff.
Yeah, I like. I think I'd like the 8 Parkerness a lot better if it was a 6 furlong race rather than 7. Yeah. But again, this horse, one of these horses, it gets out in a clear lead. Could be long gone here because there's really a lack of pace here. And again, there's cheaps. Are they cheap speeds? All of them? We're going to find out. And the 1 is now 2-1.
I'm going to guess that the 8 has some physical issues. Although it's getting bet late. And I'll tell you another thing. Even though a horse is an overlay, the job of the morning line, you have to remember, is to predict what a horse will go off at. And so the 8 is exactly where it's supposed to be. And I've noticed that the more accurate the EE morning line is to the live odds, the better the horse does. I want you to see this. Look at the 3 horse. 12-1, it's 13-1. 7-2 on the 8, it's 7-2. 5-2 on the 1, it's 5-2. 5-1 on the 2, it's 5-1. I mean, it's really uncanny how amazing the EquinEdge morning line is. But good luck, David, here on the 1 horse. It is the 2-1 favorite. I'm on the 3rd choice, the 8 horse. I am looking forward to those, seeing how the 7 and the 5 horse might close in the race. But let's see how this 8 looks going into the gate. 8 looks fun. 8 looks good. Nice appearance.
So I am on the 1, 2-1. Yeah, it is what it is. It's a pick and pray. And I think the horse is the most likely winner. So here we go. But again, I wouldn't. If it was an optional, I'd pull this one back.
All right.
2-1.
Let's see how the break goes. 8 broke beautifully. Beautifully. Now, we're not surprised the 3's on the lead. We are surprised the 6 horse isn't. So the 8's on the lead. Smart. Just a smart move.
The 6, I'm shocked that the 6 didn't challenge for that lead.
No. It advantage the 8 horse right now. I tell you
No,
that
absolutely.
right now. If this 8 is okay, this horse is gone. That's not fast. 23-3.
No, that's the same thing that happened last week in the 7 furlong race. A horse who hadn't won at 7 got off 23-4 and 47. I almost 48 and then cruised. The final time was like 124.
If you'd have told me that this 8 was going to get a clear lead and go 23-3, then I would have bet the race.
Right.
The horses that are in second, the 4 horse can close a little bit, but most of these horses are not closers.
Right. The 1's coming now, but I don't know if there's enough pace for the 1. He's going really wide, but here it comes.
The 8 is shortening up strides. Disappointing effort, honestly, by the 8, who had an easy lead. This 4 horse hurt on the street. Advantage right now.
And here comes the 1, but he's going to get there much too late. And the 7.
No, I don't think so. I think the one and the 7.
Oh, the 7, they're going to win. One of them's going to win, Scotty.
Yep.
Come on with this 1. Oh,
7 got it.
Oh, that was entertaining. The pace
that was
meltdown.
A good race.
There you go.
Look,
and that's the key. That where I say that the 7 furlongs is the key distance, because some of these horses, no matter how slow the pace is, they just don't want to get 7, right?
No. Disappointing effort. We were right about the 8. That horse got late. It shouldn't have got late with that slow pace. In fact, the 1 and the 7 getting up like it did, considering the slow pace, just goes to show you that the horses were no good, for sure.
Right. And it's not a speed favoring track, because if this was a speed favoring track today, one of those horses would have held on a lot better. They just collapsed, and it was a modest pace, a temperate pace. So, yeah, so at least we can make a conclusion. There's no speed bias, and maybe there's a closer bias today.
Yeah. All right.
It's just such a weak field, right? So
we're done with feeders. All done with the feeders now. Now we continue on with the qualifiers, but before we do that, I'm going to ask for some help on the pick 6. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Let's do this. Pick 6. Let's just say, how about $120? All right.
Okay. Well, I'll go first. I would insist on using the 1 and the 2. Other than that, you're on your own.
Okay. So race number 4, we didn't cover. So let's see. I have a note on this 5 horse. Was best, terrible trip, 3 back. And this horse is coming off the layoff. So did you handicap this race at all? What were your thoughts on this race?
Oh, the 5th race, yeah, because I did put the 5th we did.
Oh, we did.
One of the races. We're both on the 3, which is a long shot. So I'd use the 3-8 and probably the 3-7-8 here.
Well, it's amazing to me. I didn't even lock in the race, and it's amazing to me that the system actually only used the 3 and the 4, the ticket generator.
Really?
Oh, hold on. That's because I eliminated the 7 and the 8.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, then let's go with it. Go with it.
Okay, but that just goes to show you too. If you make the right eliminations, if you're correct about those, then it gives you a bigger chance. But it's got
exactly.
You know what I mean? So just be right about your changes that you make, or your eliminations, or your additions. Just be right about that. We both were on the 3 horse. Listen, some of the biggest tickets that I've ever hit were when I would single, let's just say, a horse like the 3. Because if I'm right about that, then the system can add way more horses. So we'll go on to, let's go here. The system is singling the 1 horse, who's 59% in race number 6. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I'm not big on singling in a maiden special way, especially in New York State bred. But if I was going to single in this race, and I think sometimes rather than, this is a race you could go all, right?
Right.
But you don't want to go all on a maiden special weight, because to me, you don't have an opinion on a race. It's a race you should pass. So you should be rather conservative on the pick 6, in my opinion. But Scotty's the pick 6 guy more than me. So if I was going to single, I would use the 10 here, the Omaha Beach. There's an Omaha Beach. They're running well on the turf called One More Time Yeah, just had one, and I had pointed that horse out. I loved it
Yep.
at Saratoga off the turf. Then went into a grade 1 this past week and won at 18-1.
Wow.
So they're running well. So that would be my horse, the 10 Twilight Tango. But I'd also use the Bond horse. Again, it's Tis the Law on the turf. What did we see earlier today? Saratoga Stable, Tis the Law out of Constitution to win. So I'd give the 8 horse another chance. I'd probably do the 8-10 here, and that's what I've done. I played my ticket already. I used the 8-10. I went rather narrow here.
Well, and the system has got the one horse going gate to wire, but you're right. Like this is dangerous because you don't know about these first time starters. Do you see any of the second time starters winning this race?
Yeah, I think the 8, Gutierrez, Gutierrez. And again, I just point out that I am partial to the Bond barn. I will admit that.
Right.
Really nice people. I mean, I've toured their barn a number of times. Just great people. Family operation. And they usually don't win first time out. So second time off a layoff, they've got a lot of decent New York State bred turf horses, and they've had a lot of success. So a little quiet meet for them at Saratoga. So I expect a rebound. They had a winner yesterday. So I think that's a must use, the 8. And again, Tis the Law. We saw Tis the Law just win for Saratoga Stables in the second.
What do you
race.
make of Bruce Levine's first time starter here? Bruce is 22% with.
Yeah, Bruce Levine can win with first time starters. Sometimes he gets overlooked. With this horse, I'm not crazy about violence first time on the turf, so I'd probably pass. But again, these maiden special weight races, in all honesty, are guessing games. So
yeah,
and I don't think in a guessing game you want to. Yeah, in a guessing game, unless this was the first leg, to me this should be the first leg in the pick 6 because it's a maiden special weight. There's a lot of unknowns. So when it's in that spot, I'm going to resist the temptation to go all in, because you go all in and you're going to get the one horse. That's what happens to me. I'll get the one horse at 5-2, and I'll be like, that was just a waste of, 12 other wagers. That's just doesn't make any sense.
All right. So I know Oldie said that he makes a living off of beating McGahee horses, but I think this is a nice horse. So I'm going to single the 2. So I'm forcing the system to single that horse.
Okay.
It already is singling the horse.
Okay.
But I'm going to force it to single. Of course, this is a wide open race. I've said all along I'm only using 2 horses. I like the 5. I don't love the 10. I'm only using the 8 and the 9. So I'm forcing the system to just use 2 horses, 8 and 9. 9's my top pick, Gold Lightning. And then here, it wants to single the 1 horse, but that's not going to happen.
Ooh, that's risky.
Yeah, I'm just using those, so I'm going to force the system here, and then let's see what it does. So based on my budget, I'm going to regenerate it, and that's what I'm getting: 8 and 9, 1, 8 and 10, singling the 2. So now I just have to figure out what I'm going to do in these races. I might play a bigger ticket. This might not be enough for me. I have to look. I have to look at the first 3 races. I agree with you, by the way. I have a feeling this 10 horse is a runner. Sometimes we go too deep with all these first time starters, but since EquinEdge, you don't have to do that. Like you don't have to guess. There's a little bit of guessing, but it's not as much as it used to be, because we're giving you win percentages, we're giving you GSRs, we're giving you pace, we're giving you picks. Like these are all different algorithms. We're giving you morning lines. So like sort the EE morning line and go, okay, who does the morning line think is going to be bet? And when you look at that, look, they kind of line up. If you see this, look, all the way here to the 3 horse, and then the morning line. So these are different algorithms. So the algorithms are saying that these horses here below. So you would get rid of the 7, 4, 6, 11, 9. Now let's run the simulator and see when you run to the finish if any of those are near. The 11 is a third time starter that's showing closing, but a little bit late. What do you make of the 11 horse? Did you look at this horse?
Yeah, Lady Delilah. Yeah, I mean,
on the dirt.
Of course. Yeah, I mean, now it switches back to the dirt. This is a Salamini. who to me is more. This is more dirt breeding than turf. What's the GSR?
Yeah,
Right?
it's going down 8 points.
Yeah, I'm not sold on this horse. That's a horse I would leave out. The 11. Ferraro's good, but I think could be some talented horses in this race. So off those 2 starts, hey, listen, bump rake in both starts. So at least you have an angle there. It's like, okay, I'll use it because the horse had an excuse in both races. And that's been a valuable play for me in the past at playing tournaments, especially the NHC. As long as you have an angle, right?
What do you make of the 3 horse? Abreu is 16% with first-time starters and 34 samples. But what's impressive is these horses usually come back and run a second time. Of the 37, right. 29 came back to run twice, and he went up to 28%. That's impressive. You see the horse losing by 15 lengths, but that does not matter.
No, and like I said, the more you look into this race, I mean, you look at the 2, Bolt d'Oro. Could this horse win first time? Sure. So you could say, okay, I can't figure this race out. I'm gonna wheel it in single, but to me, that's not my style. So for those of you who want to do that, and again, I've always been burnt when I do that. I'll get always the favorite, and then when I go 3 deep, or you get a 50-1 shot win. And I'm like, okay, no, it's not my cup of tea, as they say.
So if we keep the 1 in there, then the 1's showing the simulator winning just over the 10. But if you take the 1 out, then look, I mean, there's just a wall of them. Maybe, I think you're only using the 1 and 10, correct?
Yeah. And I've got to use the 8 because it's Bond's second time. I think this horse can improve. 'Tis the law. Yeah.
So, and then let's see. So the filly wasn't a bad. Earned 200,000 in 36 races, all on the dirt. So, and this race is on the dirt.
And the way I look at some of these, especially tournaments, live money tournaments, if I'm leaving a horse out, I want to be able to look myself in the mirror and say, hey, I would have hit the pick, and not be able to say, hey, I would have hit the pick 6 if I put in Bond's horse, the 8, in race 6, and it would have been $40,000. I wouldn't be able to look myself in the mirror. So if that's the case, if you're a horse player like I am, if you can't look yourself in the mirror and it's going to bother you for weeks, if you leave a horse out, put the horse in.
Here's where this will suck. If you look at this, look, every horse is within 2.5 lengths. And so that's a bit scary. That's a bit scary. Now, if we just use all the metrics together, then we just go like this. Throw the 1 in there and just use those horses. So I'm obviously, but if one of these horses doesn't win, then this thing is gonna pay really, really big. So right. I think I've locked in every race. Let's see. I'm gonna lock in. This race is not just these 4 horses either, by the way.
No. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just not. Like maybe I take the risk. If I don't like the 8, tell me about this 4 horse, David?
Mr.
9 minutes to get the bet in. Yeah, because when I threw out the 8 and 7, it used only the 3 and the 4. What do you mean? This horse is 4-1 in the EE morning line. Tom Morley, second-time starter. He's 17%, not bad. 16% not with first time out, and second time out is
I'd give this horse a shot. I mean, it's Connect out of Curlin. These horses can run on turf. Maybe a little short, but this horse has showed some speed before. And off of second race off a layoff, you can excuse that race, 5.5 front. I mean, it wouldn't be my primary pick, but I could consider using it. Sure.
So I think if I don't want to go crazy and play some astronomical ticket, it would only make sense for me to use the 3, who's my top speed horse, and then grab a horse that might be closing, right? So which would be, and I'm not going to use the 8 and the 7. So besides those horses, who's finishing? 1's finishing, 5 is finishing. The 1 horse is somewhat tactical as well. Tell me about this 1 horse here. Second off the layoff. for Bruce Brown. Katie Davis is aboard. I love Katie.
Yeah, we love Katie and hope that she wins. Yeah, she was great on the show with us. Really energetic, really nice person. She's easy to root for, right, Scotty?
So easy. Like I just feel like we need to have more of that. And believe me, that's in the future plans, is to have more of these relationships and with the trainers and jockeys and stuff, so we can get to know them. I genuinely think anybody that knows me knows I've talked about this with the team. We have to do that. The game needs it.
Yeah.
Like there needs to be a connection between the trainers and jockeys, instead of them just being like, that's just a number. Because jockeys and trainers are almost like a number to people. They're not like,
exactly. Yeah.
They're not humans.
Yeah, exactly. And I have to tell you, maybe I can have a connection with Jose Gomez and his agent, Angel Cordero. We connected at the Eclipse Awards. I had a 20-minute conversation with those guys. And I might have had a few too many adult cocktails, but I was really encouraging Jose Gomez. I said, you have the talent. You have the talent. You have to work hard. Angel can tell you. And I'm like, then I told my wife, I can't believe I'm giving Jose Gomez advice with Angel Cordero there.
Yeah,
but it was just overwhelming. So that's one of the things. You want to go to the NHC and win it, and then you can go to the Eclipse Awards and be hobnobbing with the top jocks. It's such a blast.
So look, I'm going to play a $120 ticket. Like, you have to understand that this ticket is probably only a 3% to 5% chance of winning. That's just what it is, but it happens, right? So if I really loved some horses in here, yeah, I do like the two a bit, but if I really love some horses, then maybe I would, play a much bigger ticket, right? And so, but I don't.
Yeah. To me, I think you're okay with that. I mean, I don't think it's just if this was a carryover of monumental proportions and you had $3 million or $4 million total in a pool, that's when I'd probably suggest, reach out with a much larger ticket, because there's a couple of long shots can knock a lot of people off the board.
Yes.
So Scotty, we've got about a little more than a half hour to cover the rest.
Yep.
So by 3:00.
Okay. I'm putting my ticket in now. Just give me one second. 2, 3, 8, 10, 2, 8, 9, 8, 10. Okay, that's it. Okay, so we will. That race is coming up in 5 minutes. We'll play that. But where do we need to go out? Where do we leave off at?
Okay, it looks like we completed. So we'd have to go to Laurel. You want to go to Laurel 8th and 9th and 10th?
Who was I using? I was using the 8 horse, right? You said the 8, right?
You use the 8. I'm using the 7.
Race number 9. Okay, the 8 horse, Philly's finest. Okay, so we're going to Laurel 8, correct?
Yeah, and it's going to be easy for me, Scotty, because this is where it looked rather chalky to me. So
I'm with you. Okay, go ahead. What do you got?
Okay, in this 8th race at Laurel, I went through a bunch of horses, but to save a little time, I was interested in 2 particular horses, and that was the hold on a second, the 10 and the 11. The first one is wow, and let's go to the 11 first. Poga Benassi. Did I pronounce that right? Yeah,
Poga Benassi.
And the reason why this horse stuck out at me, I was looking at a morning line of 12-1, and Scotty was pointing this out earlier. Look at the EE morning line, 2-1. And this horse has speed. Maybe we'll fight it out with the 6, Lady Serenity. So that's a horse I'm definitely going to use. Now, the question is, the 10 is, just bear with me a second. I got to pull up. I'm a little disorganized here with my notes, unfortunately. So the 10 also did interest me a bit. I mean, this horse has been competitive, and this is a Cloceris horse. He's 14%. And I just thought, let me just pull up my other notes. I don't know where they are. But so those are the two horses. It was almost like a flip of the coin for me in this case. I'm not crazy about this race, $16,000 claimer. So let me just, if I can give you a little more words. Oh, here are my notes. Okay. So if I'm looking at, Theodora Grace, the last couple of races, we had it washed off the turf on July 12th. You can throw that race out. Yeah. This horse had a good race off a layoff June 1st, a nice third. And this horse is going to have to close. But I like to step up a little bit. I guess this horse is looking for a spot. It was $12,000 claimer, now it's 16. A little bit of a reach, but I think this horse is live at a price. But so it would be either the 10 or the 11. The 11 is second race off a layoff, comes from Timonium, 4 furlongs, probably much too short. And the 11 has won a race at 5.5, be it on the dirt, but on July 14th of 23, had a really bang up second at 5.5. So I think I'd go with the 11 over the 10 here. So Poga Benosi with that 2-to-1 morning line EE and the 11, the 10. So the 11-10 for me, Scotty.
You know, I normally won't take horses like the 8 horse. But 7 wins in 24 races. It's dropping 10 points in GSR. It does have a few past turf races, and they were, I believe, most of them were longer. But I mean, the horse has won on the turf, and the horse can actually rate some too. I think there's so much speed in here. Believe it or not, I'm going to go with the 8 horse.
Okay.
Bella Prima. Yeah.
Going with the price. Yep. I think you got inside speed, a couple of horses battling. Yeah. Third race off a layoff, stays at the same level and has won 2 races out of 5 starts on the turf. I'm not really a fan of keen ices on the turf, but this horse has won 2 races on the turf. So
it's won 2 races on the turf. I'm going to take the price here because I really don't know. I will say this: the 1 horse is intriguing. I don't like it's coming from races from Penn, but it has 5 wins in 12 tries, and the 1 horse she can rate. If you throw out the 5, she shows winning the race. The reason I'm not taking the 5 horse is because of the speed. It looks to be like this horse needs to be on or near the lead, and there's speed to her outside, and that's the 6 horse, Lady Serenity, who's faster than her. And so I think she's going to have to check up. I don't know that the 5 is going to get the best trip or not. And so I'm going to take. I think a horse is going to come from behind, and I'm going to take the 8 horse to win the race. This is not my prototypical play, but and even the race simulator has this horse well back. But if you do believe you're like, okay, I don't like the Penn races, so I throw out the 1. I think the 5 needs the lead. If you do that, now look, it's a grab bag. I thought about the 11 as well, and I can totally see it. I just don't think the horse can rate. And there's so much speed, and the horse is wide. That's why I'm going away from the 11 horse. But I'm going to go with the 8 horse. And I actually like your 10 better than 11.
You know what? You just convinced me. I'm flipping them. I'm doing 10 on 1, and the 11 would be my secondary. So it's okay. 10, 11. I agree.
10, 11. Okay. So just make sure we don't miss the Belmont. We've got 4 minutes before that Belmont race. Okay.
All right. So I think we can go to the 9th because it's stretched down to a 4-horse field. And to me, I mean, it takes a lot of the oomph out of the race. So you got the 1, 1A, 3, and 4 up. Super Chow goes to Parks, which everybody expected. So I thought this was a 3-horse race. The 5, the 6, most likely. The 5 has got such a pace factor advantage, 79 against a 43. How do you play against this horse? But I'm playing against this horse. You ever hear the expression "longest shot in a 4-horse field"? It's unbelievable how many times. So I'm going to go with the motto. I'm not going to do longest shot in a 4-horse field, but because I think the 2 will be the longest shot. But I'm going with the 7. Always in a hurry. I like the jock Sanchez. He knows it. These jocks can read the racing form. They all know there's no pace, and I can't begin to tell you how many times you're not going to get a horse in a 3-horse field getting away to an easy lead because nobody's going to have any traffic issues. They're going to be pressing that 5. And I think the 7 stalking an outside post off of freshening has won 5 races over the course, 4 at the distance. So I'm going to go with Always in a Hurry at a little bit of a modest 5-2, probably second or third choice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the 7-horse off the layoff, and Philip Capuano is 11% off the layoff. This horse has won 230,000 of its 490,000. The 6-year-old gelding at 6 furlongs on the dirt. Loves Laurel Park. Has earned 310,000 there as well. So certainly deserves a look. This is an absolute grab bag. Nothing wrong with the importer from Parks coming into Laurel Park to back this horse won against a 68 group at 8%. It does drop in GSR though, so I'm a little concerned about the 2. It either likes to win or it just stops. One of the 2. 7 wins and then 2/3 and then nothing. The 6-horse Prince Jericho. This is the class of the field, bar none, and it's going up to 48%. And it's just been facing better horses, and it's not going in for a tag, which I like. It's logically placed into an allowance race, hopefully get its confidence back up, a little bit of a break. And let's see the workouts. Workouts seem to be fine. Yeah, the 5-horse is going to have the lead. It looks like the 6-horse can stalk the 5. So the 5 is going to be on the lead, and 6 is just going to be on the outside. I also think the 6-horse's class is going to move the horse up. I also think that at 5 furlongs, 5.5, maybe the 5 would be difficult, but it's got 9 wins in 48 races and 15 seconds and 7/3. So most likely for the exotics, I have to go with the favorite. I think.
Okay, so you're on Prince of Jericho?
Yep.
You don't think 5 Dreams with the pace factor will be the favorite?
No, and you can see the morning line too. On Prince of Jericho, it's 3-5. I think the 6 is going to be the big favorite.
Okay, all right.
All right, you're on the 7. I'm on the 6. Let's make sure we don't miss this race at Belmont Park. Hold on. All right, so they're going to milk it a little bit. Looks like you're about 2 or 3 minutes away from the race to get in your pick 6 bet. We'll watch that. Okay, so I'm on the 6. Let me put that in, Prince Jericho. Okay, Laurel 9. So now we've got Laurel race number 10.
Okay, yeah, and this again, this is where from this race on, the 9th on, to me, it gets a little chalky. The rest, both tracks, is that this race, I'm going with the EE Scotty's top pick, the 9 Master Munnings. This horse is off a layoff. 2 optional claimers at 50,000 at Gulfstream. One on a synthetic, one on a turf. Dropped down a maiden 30, closed for a decent 4th after a bump start. A little bit of a freshening, and now drops again to 20. I think this horse is a standout here. So I just looked at this horse. I didn't spend a lot of time in this race. I'm just on the 9 here, taking the chalk and the short pricing, going with the 9.
So a lot of times when you have a layoff horse, they can be a bit rusty. The 11. Holy moly, the 11 horse has burned some money. And I do think that the 11 is going to get a good trip. But let's see where the speed is. At the first call, the 1 on the inside, the EquinEdge long shot, a bit cheap though. Whereas the 11's been facing better horses and now dropping. But this one has burned some money and is going to be wide. And so the 1 could end up really getting an easy lead early. And that's interesting. So the 1's definitely on my radar. Then you look at the 4 horse who just has done nothing, and it's moving up in win percentage to 13%. I'm trying to figure that out. Why? Like, why is that horse? You know what I mean? Like, it's 0 for 7. It's moving up in win percentage, and but I don't think I can go there. And then you look at the 9 horse. The 9 broke 10th last time out. It's not making it. It's logically put in a race at $20,000. It last was in for 30. It's had a little bit of a layoff. Trombetta is 14% off the layoff. I mean, this horse just looks so much the best. Let's keep on running the race. The 11 actually at some point gets in front of the 1, which makes me a little bit nervous. But maybe that just helps the 9, because I was really looking at this horse. If we threw out the 9, then look at this race. And that's maybe something we should do, because there's no value in the 9 anyways. It's going to go off at 3-5. And if you look at that, maybe see some of these horses here, like the 13, Oxford Union. Nothing wrong with this horse. Absolutely nothing wrong with this horse at all. It does drop in GSR a little bit, but aside from the post position, And that's not a great post. So for that reason, I'll probably play against that horse. But what about the 2 horse? Can you make a case for the 2 that's going up in win percentage in GSR?
The 2? No, I just think this horse has not lifted a hoof at any point in its career. So not a horse that would be on my radar. Even though dropping down, but I can't see it.
All right, we got to get out to the race there, going into the gate. This is the pick 6, 2-day carryover. This is my ticket. I have 4 horses in here.
Okay, and I'm
1,
okay.
2, 4, 7.
And I'm on the 1 and the 2 in my small. What do I have? A $48 ticket, I believe. Really going light. But that's the way I approach some of these pick 6s.
Yeah. All right, 5 horses, a bit fractious in the game.
Yeah, now the 1 is it's going down the line here. Oh, there.
1, 2, and 4 in last. 7 broke very good.
The 1's going for an easy lead here.
Broke a little bit slow.
Based on the track profile, what's been happening with the race flows and the slower, it looks like closers can easily run well today. It looks like the 2 is just sitting a perfect trip, right?
Yeah, the 2 is 7 horses done. 6 doesn't seem to be.
The 2's holding in there. I mean, the 5 would blow up the board here, right? This horse is running okay, and the 2 just kind of.
The 5 is running very good. 2's not running that good.
No. I think she's done.
It looks like the 1 does have the measure of the 5. Here comes the 7, which would be a huge hit.
The 1's going nice and easy. She's going to draw her off here.
Here comes the 7. Here comes the 4 as well at 3-1. They better pass.
And here comes the 2. The 2 is resurgent along the rail. And here comes the 4.
What a race.
Oh, man, you're going to have to say the 4 is going to win his race. Oh,
I don't know. 2's going to win this race.
Keep me alive. All right, I'm alive. With a 65. That rhymes.
Well, that's why you don't use too many horses. And you sometimes, if you really feel like that was just such a wide open race, that 2 horse ends up getting off at 6-5. Just Catherine. Honestly, on paper, it looked the best. The 4 horse really. See, you think these horses are finishing, but what they're really doing is slowing down.
They're stopping, right?
They're stopping. It's an optical illusion for sure, and because that 2 horse was done, and really disappointing effort. Listen, that 4 horse Braganza, for Imaginary Stables and John Guarneri, they claimed this horse back in May for $100,000. Mm-hmm. So. That would have been nice for them to get that win in that horse, but the 2 was just a little bit too good. But we'll see. That would have been pretty good to get that win with that horse. But came back and run a nice race off that layoff, first time off the claim. It takes a lot of cojones, as you know, to claim a horse for $100,000.
Oh, absolutely. You got to be pretty sure. You got to be pretty right?
Yeah. Okay. Back to it. We were at Laurel Park, race number 10.
Right, and I'm all over the 9.
Laurel Park. Ooh, I like the confidence. Okay, let's see here.
It's a single.
So the 9 horse Master Munnings. All right, and then me. If I throw out the 9 and I look at it from this perspective. What about Fire and Knives? Tell me why the 4 can't win.
Besides not being fast enough, is there anything else tell you about it? I'm just not. First of all, the trainer to me doesn't really have a big success rate. Edwin Merriman, been around for years. This horse is 0 for 3 on the turf. Has been in the 30,000 levels. Really not dropping down much. I just think this is such a weak race that, I don't want to. I have no interest in that horse.
And All right, I wouldn't normally do this, but I'm gonna try to beat the 9, and I'm gonna do the 13.
All right, you're reaching out today.
I am.
I used to call you Mr. Chalk. Now we can't do that today. Jeez.
No. All right, you're on the
I'm
9, 13. Thank you. All right,
and that's what wins these contests too, right?
For
You gotta
sure.
reach out.
For sure. Okay, now we've got 3 races at Gulfstream.
3 more left. Okay.
Yep. So we've got race number 7 at Gulfstream Park.
All right, race number 7 at Gulfstream.
It was chalky.
Again, even though it gets a little chalky, this is one race I'm going to go against the grain a bit. And I apologize, my computer's like freezing up here in my EquinEdge. Hold on a second. It's keeping me on Laurel. I can't get to Gulfstream. Let me see here. Gulfstream race 7, correct? 62.5 claimer, and not really my cup of tea. So I'm going to make it pretty simple here. This horse I have a history with, and when I have a history with, then I said that you got to make sure you can look yourself in the mirror at the end of the day. And I have to tell you, even though I think Gone Nuts is the most likely winner here, if Ragtime Blues wins this race and it costs me a placing for tour points, I can't look myself in the mirror. I have a history with Ragtime Blues. This horse is, they sent this horse to the turf for some reason, which I have no idea why. And this horse has enough speed to stay close to the pace. I know it's a little bit of a reach, but the morning line 20-1, EquinEdge line 7-1. That tells me all I need to know. I don't want any part of chalk here. I know it's going to be the 6-1 most likely winners. I understand that. I don't want anybody else. I'm going to take a shot with Ragtime Blues, hopefully at 10 or 12-1, and that's the long shot. So that's helping me make that decision too. So a little loyalty and also using the EE long shot. So it's all number 2 Ragtime Blues, my last price of the day, if you can know what. All
right. So the one horse I'm convinced is the horse to beat. The win percentage goes from 5% to 36%. Same GSR, and it's going from a 60 SOR down to a 54 SOR. This horse is got a good spot. For me, it's going to be between the 1 horse and the 5 horse, Cajun's Magic. I really like this horse is going up from a 50 GSR to a 65. Up 15 points and facing similar, only lost by 5 lengths last time out at Colonial Downs. And this horse is getting off the turf and on the dirt. So 3 races on the turf make no sense to me because this horse had never raced on the turf before that and obviously didn't do very well. On the dirt in 15 tries has earned $311,000. So, right?
Yes, Scotty, if I can point something out.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're on the same page as I am, but you're on the other horse. So that was Colonial Downs. That's Angel Rodriguez. He's got both. He's got the 5 Cajun's Magic and the 2 Ragtime Blues, and he brought them both down to Colonial Downs. And I thought it was a dubious decision, but I mean, Ragtime Blues ran a nice second at July 19th. So maybe the horse has got a little left. I don't know. So yeah, so
it's just weird. Well, maybe we shouldn't even be considering Rodriguez because like some of the decisions just don't make any sense to me. Both those horses are dirt horses, not turf horses. So,
I'm figuring he had a couple of other horses that were turf men, so he figured he'd bring a couple down there.
I think trainers can get away with making a bad decision on putting a horse in the wrong surface or the wrong distance. But when you do it too often, you're just using a horse up. And so that's why I'm going to go with Joe DiBaggio. I'm going to go with the 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
Joe DiBaggio. So I'm on the 2 with my long shot special of the day. And usually when I see a long shot special of the day, I'm getting a price. It's probably going to be 6-1. But I do like the workout too on August 22nd. So maybe the horse has got a little left, drops back to a 62.5 play. All right, race 8. It looks rather chalky.
All right, it sure does. The 2 horse, Avant Glory. I just don't even like. To me, why even run? I think the 3 can run better. I do. I think the 3 is going up in GSR, and for that reason, I think maybe you could get a nice exacta out of this. But it's the 2 horses race to lose. You?
I agree, and I think the 2 horse is by far the horse to beat. But, 4 wins out of 21 starts, 7 seconds does concern me. I think this horse is a lock to run at least second. But the horse that I'm going to, I think is a 2-horse, well, actually probably a 3-horse race. But I'm going to go with the second. Actually, EquinEdge is giving my horse no love whatsoever. And the horse that I'm going to try to beat the 2. I think you have to use the 2 in any horizontals or on a second ticket in your contest. But I'm going to take the 6, Scar, for Steve Caceres. Second time off a layoff, raced at a mile and stalked the pace. That was a tune-up race. I love the cutback, even though this horse hasn't won at the distance. I'm like, this horse looks more like a distance horse, has had some good races, a mile and 16, 30,000 claimer at Monmouth, a good bang up second at a mile at 8-1 at Gulfstream, and drops down a bit, cuts back, goes back to Steve Caceres from Kathy Ritvo. And I think this horse, it's puzzling why it looks like this horse needs more distance, but I think Caceres, I trust his judgment here. Canteros usually are sprinters. This is a spot where I think this horse at 6.5 is the key. 6 may be too short. So I'm going to go try to beat the 2 with the 6, but I think it's 6-2 all day long.
6-2. So I'm going chalky. All right. So I'm on the 2 and you're on the 6 horse. Okay. Now we've got the last race we have to cover, and that's Gulfstream Park, race number 9.
Okay, this is so appropriate. I have to get this line in. It's the last race, right? Last race of the What do they say?
It's
last
not.
call for
Actually,
alcohol.
It's not actually. The last race of the contest is Belmont.
Oh, okay. I mean, okay. The last race we're covering. So, okay,
Yeah.
I apologize.
Yeah,
So, last call for alcohol.
There
you go. There's the hunch play. Not that it's a hunch play. This horse is 3rd time off a layoff and really drops down. This is DJ Stables, Joe Orsino. I mean, DJ Stables, blinkers on, drop down, 3rd race off a layoff. What more do you want? You want any more angles? Jockey change. No, Zaya stays. So you got 4 angles. Blinkers on, Zaya stays. 2nd time off a layoff and a drop down. What more do you need? This horse is going to end my day very well. And I will have a straight win wager on this horse as long as I get at least 5-2 or 3-1. So it's all alcohol for me. It's Friday. It's alcohol by 4:30, 5 o'clock p.m. So there you go. Happy hour, 5 o'clock, alcohol. How many hunch plays can I give you? So there you go. Alcohol for me in the 9th at Gulfstream.
I have to go with the 2. I just have to. It's just too fast for these. This horse is a very fast horse. It's a horse to watch. I think this horse is gonna have an easy lead, and you're gonna have a hard time catching this horse. First time for David Fox, and this is a very, very fast horse. Barely held on last time out against easier, but maintains a good win percentage, and goes in the synthetic. And horses that get the lead do very well here, but horses that close do very well here. I think that this race is between the 2, 3, 5, and 7. It's one of those horses for sure. I don't think I really don't think you can go wrong. I can understand why you'd like the 5, but I'm going to go with the 2.
Right, and you're not concerned with the drop to 16 off the 25 claim?
No, not at all. Because the reason is it's a $28,000 purse, and and so there's nothing wrong with that. Like if you get the win here, then you're going to make money. But listen, we might even get 3 or 4-1 odds. Like the 7 has 9 seconds, so I couldn't go with the horse that just continues to get second. Your horse, the 5 horse, certainly is a player. I was disappointed though with the last effort because the horse dropped from a 68 SOR down to a 54, up 10, 11 points in GSR, up 16 points in win percentage, and lost. I didn't particularly like that, and then this horse just seems a little bit cheap and has burned just a crap load of money. So I thought, we'll take the horse that's going to have the lead since the other horses don't seem to want to win. That was my mindset. But I don't think you can go wrong with any of these horses.
Right. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So it's 5 for me. I'm all on alcohol, and 4-way stop for Scotty the 2, correct?
Yeah, there's help for you though. If you're on alcohol and you need some help.
There you go. There you go. Ba-boom or whatever. Where's my drum? I'm going to have a drum here.
That's right.
Bump. So there you go. Very good. Very good.
Well, thank you, David. That was a lot of
Very
fun. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
I love doing this show with you. And
Had a blast.
again, big shout out to the team. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend, David. Stay safe. And same with everybody out there. We appreciate it. And we will see you soon.
Okay, good.